Welcome to the Deep Seated Podcast.
We live right now?
We live, boy.
Shit.
I mean, you need like the little Joe Rogan, like, back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking little.
For the day ones there, eh?
That's right. The people that know what the hell we're talking about. But anyways, welcome to the podcast, everybody.
Welcome. Episode 4.
Number 4.
Hey.
Number 4 already on our way.
Even number 4.
Yeah,
I like
that. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Climbing on our way up. So how you been, my dude?
Good, man. Yeah, just kind of didn't really get to admire this yet, but
we literally just
it looks
like
good.
Homie showed up, we pressed record, so we're hopping straight into it today, nice and fresh. So he hasn't even got to check out the new background that we got going. So we're trying to basically get this set up a bit more viable for anybody that's actually watching this. But I mean, it is going to help with the audio version of it as well a little bit. Yeah. But
and look, it's like,
but that was the big one. We were just like, yo, we watched over our podcast a couple times, the video version, and immediately we're both like,
something needs to go there.
Yeah, we need a little background action. Yeah. So here we go.
No, it looks good, man.
Got some foam tile action. Hopefully anybody that's watching enjoys a little bit more contrast.
You noticed the difference for the sound even, eh? You said?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just basic, like, I mean, it's not too bad because we're usually like right in on the mic and stuff like that. Yeah. But I mean, it's just anything that helps with a little bit of the like the reflections, like the sound bouncing off the walls and shit. If there was any echo, hopefully it's a little better.
Has subsided.
Yeah, no doubt.
We shall find out.
Yeah,
when we review this bitch.
Yeah. I mean, frig. So it's been a week since we did the last. Yeah, we were gonna do. We're still trying to figure out our schedule for everything, but we took a day off last week. I mean, you were down and out.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily sick, but I was just burnt out, man.
Oh, dude,
like work is crazy. I was almost
gonna like send the fucking message over, like assuming that that's almost what it was, because like I know. Ham you've been going, and then we threw more into the mix. I just got a little burnt out from work. Is getting a little hectic, and I'm starting a new position soon. I'm like on top of starting early, I'm like going in even earlier to do training. Right. So my days were like, leaving my house at 10 a.m, getting home at basically 10 p.m. For a bit there. So for sure, dude, that shit gets taxing.
On top of just doing art and living life and doing this. I started to feel like I was sick, and I was just kind of fucking. Well,
it spirals out of control so quick too when you're like going ham. Like that's the one I always know too. Like I'm expecting it this winter in my upcoming seasons, because right now it's like my busiest time of year. Yeah. So with all this mixed in and trying to keep the vlog going and now podcasting, 2 companies, and it's gonna be
and life.
Oh yeah, that thing.
And plus holidays and shit, right? You're gonna be more busy with your own family and stuff, right?
True. And then there would be more vlogs because of all that shit, and then everything else amongst that. So no, but it's why I'm like hopping back in on the vitamin train real hard. Like
I'm fucking slacking, dude. I need to today.
Yeah.
I got some shit to do after this. Before I do that, I'm gonna stop and
it's so important, man. Like, especially when you're trying to use your body as a freaking like well-oiled machine, or needing it to be at least.
Well, and that's what it is, right? And I feel like it's something everyone realizes once you are in like mid 20s. Would you say?
You get to like 25, 26, and then it's like you start trying to. It's
cold out. You're like, I'm kind of achy, and like
you sound like this chair a little bit.
Yeah.
You're just like,
you'll be like, you start noticing certain foods, like how your body reacts.
Oh, God.
You're
like, why can't I eat
when you're younger, you just, you're like, why do I feel like shit after eating this big bowl of fucking spaghetti and meatballs and like ice cream for dessert? Why did I get cramps
when I ate a massive bowl of spaghetti and then went to soccer practice 20 minutes afafterwards? Like,
right? You're like, oh yeah, maybe, like everyone's different too, right? So
of course.
Once I hit like maybe my mid 20s, last couple years, I've been super like aware of how certain foods like hit me and like how I react to them. And I just kind of have stayed away from some. I've introduced more of others that I've noticed like it
literally starts to become the shit where you're just like,
well, food is fuel, basically, is my point.
Yeah.
And I've become aware of that the last couple of years and really tried to balance like what I eat
for sure.
including vitamins, but like I said, I've been slacking a little bit just because
that one. I think it's like well, it's literally why they're called supplements, right? I mean, it's like you should be getting your base vitamins and everything out of the food that you eat, your regular diet. Yeah. But then come times when you're working your body that a little extra hard, that's where the supplement I feel comes in handy, right? Like it's like you add that extra shit in to give you that little bit of extra energy, to bring you out of that ride. Just kind of like
the coal into the fire. Like, you know, you're running hot. It's like get that extra shit in there to keep you going, dude. Right?
Fucking exactly. So yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm by no means am I back on top of the game like I used to be, but I've been hitting some shit as much as I can. Like I had my B12 D3 this morning. That's kind of like my essential every morning.
Go-to, right? Yeah.
You know, I got my vitamin drank here right with me right now, and yeah, I've been feeling pretty good though. I've been trying to remove a lot of that like really heavy shit, like the breads, the pastas. Yeah.
Is that kind of your weakness? Would you say? Carbs?
Salty. Oh yeah. Salty, crunchy things, crispy things. Garlic bread is like my ultimate weakness.
Garlic bread, yeah.
Dude, I'll eat an entire loaf in a night if I feel like it. You know, just like sit down and just be like, all right, I'm gonna have like a piece of this.
So you like fuck with sandwiches and shit? Eat like a lot of that?
Not really. No, I'm not a big sandwich. That's the weird thing. I'm not a huge sandwich guy.
So you like? Okay.
I'm like
bread,
I'm like a pizza guy, or like fucking like I don't know, like wraps, garlic bread, things of that nature. But that's the stuff I've been trying to cut out a lot more lately, and going for like the heavy proteins, lots of meat, eggs, salad, obviously lots of salad, yogurts. But yeah, I mean, it's still hard. I still go for my fucking I still go for my little outlets here and there. But
that's one thing like I talk to like my mom about is like talk about like diets and like what to have, what not to have.
Right.
And just talking with anyone really about seeing like how some people react to certain things, and like how some people like they have weaknesses for, right? They try not to, but one thing like excuse me, we like I grew up on like a lot of pasta,
right? Same.
Like as a kid, you know, like KD, man, like a lot of KD, like instant noodles, Mr. Noodles, like the kimchi bowls, like the convenience factor, right? And then like
the like sidekicks and shit like that, just like so bad.
Yeah, and so like pastas and like sandwiches, like the convenience food. I really grew up with that, like being introduced to that, so I really liked it. But that stuff, like my body really doesn't like digest it very well.
I don't think anybody's actually really does. That's the funny part.
Yeah, but talking like with my mom about it, and that's something she struggles with too, is cutting out the carbs, because my mom's from Alberta and she grew up on a farm, right? So she grew up on like you have bread with every meal. Like I'm talking like no matter what the meal is, bread. It's like bread and what do you want with bread versus like let's have something and then bread on the side. It's like the opposite of like how she grew up. So like you'd have soup and then you'd have bread and butter with your soup, or like sandwiches, then you would have like another carb on the side, like potato. Like you have that shit to fucking keep you going through that cold, I heard something about weather.
This shit though that was like really interesting. Apparently like even if you go to Italy and they're still eating shitloads of pasta, but you go over there and the average person isn't fucking fat.
Yeah, but it's
due to their wheat.
Yeah, it's the type. Yeah, it's the type of wheat that they use to make their pasta.
Because I found out that apparently apparently wheat is regularly a low yield product. So you're not going to, obviously know what that means. But for anybody that doesn't know what that means, you're going to get a lower amount of product out of the plant that you've, your
yield,
your square footage that you're planting and things of that nature, right? So, of course, the way things go, when larger populations come through, you want to be able to produce as much food as possible. So in North American culture, we found a way to create it into a high yield product. And amongst doing that, we've introduced a bunch of complex glutens and shit that our body has a bunch of problems digesting.
Yeah.
And that's where we get that sleepy, sluggish, what's this glue like in my body?
Gluten-free fucking wave.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fucking, but yet it's the same thing as in Italy and places like that right now. They're still eating lots of pasta. They're still eating lots of bread.
Yeah.
But even then, the average pasta plate's like this big.
Portion.
It's not so like we've got worse pasta for you, and we're eating 10 times as much of it with a side plate of bread that's of the same terrible wheat.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, it's like, poison with poison.
So you're just like, and then you'd wash it down with a big old glass of milk, and then
and that's one thing too. Okay, so you're saying how you're trying to watch like your carb intake and stuff. So what about like dairy?
I only fuck with cheese and yogurt. I haven't had milk in like the last time I bought cereal when I moved in here. You know what I mean? You're like,
cold milk and cereal.
Yeah, yeah. It was straight up went Seinfeld on this action where I was like, yo, I got an apartment. I need to eat cereal all day and like get Superman on the walls, even though I hate Superman.
Just have him somewhere just in every episode. He's in the background, right?
I'll just switch mine to a more loved character by me, like the Max or fucking Batman or some shit.
True.
But like that one's an interesting one when you start finding out like literally everything we learned when we were younger or taught is like wrong. As far as dietary shit.
Yeah, dietary stuff is really interesting because there's always like new research that comes out or that gets
put
into the media, right?
Back paid propaganda, you mean?
And like remember when we were in high school when they introduced like baked Lays in the vending machines and there was like that wave of like the processed
light
foods.
Everything.
Yeah.
Light cheese,
and then like the diet sodas and like Coke Zero, like things like that in the pop machines, or they would have different alternatives, just in alternatives to whatever in vending machines in schools.
Right.
That was like when they were like, oh, I guess processed foods are kind of bad. Like let's introduce. The main one I noticed was like the baked chips.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I fuck with personally. I love those.
I fucking I don't know. There was never many that I really like. So I'm like, if I'm gonna have some chips,
just the OG chips. Lays, like just baked Lays are good.
I was always more. What kind of chips am I ever been? I'm always like the taco chip, the nacho chip. Or like
that cut, the triangle cut you like, or the seasoning?
The seasoning, or no, mostly the like the style of chip rather than like a potato chip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's I don't know. Like it's interesting to see how far removed we got from some basic ass shit. Something as simple as even potato chips, just thinly sliced potatoes, a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, put them in the oven. Get some potato chips.
Potatoes aren't really that bad for you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe potatoes are one of the only things that you could actually survive off of solely.
Yeah,
right?
That's like literally like the joke about a lot of places where like or people when they're struggling when they're young, or like the struggling boxer, he ate nothing but potatoes raw all day long, and it was just like that's kind of the truth, right? There's a lot of truth behind a lot of those old sayings because it's just like, or like whatever they are, myths, but it's like eggs, potatoes. Or like whatever, some basic ass protein.
I guess they cover the bases of the basics that you need, like as of nutrition.
Well, it's like it's the meat and potatoes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's your basics.
The protein, and then everything else is in the potato.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like enough to get your body by, kind of shit. To the point where like there's weird shit where like you could use potatoes to sterilize a needle and shit like that.
Or like you can make a clock
or a fucking light
battery. Yeah. Like shit like that.
Weird ass shit. Potatoes are, and that's a funny thing because like I don't know if I have a little Irish in my blood or some shit, but potatoes have been my jam ever since I was a kid.
Oh,
every fucking kind of way, man.
Yo, I gotta say though, shouts out to scallop potatoes.
That one took me a little while to fucks with, but you wanna know why?
Underrated, man.
You wanna know why it took me a while to fuck with?
And they're rare.
Was because it was always the packaged scallop potatoes around my house, and I was like, "This tastes like shit. This is fucking horse shit. What is this? This tastes terrible." And then it was at like a New Year's party or something when I was a kid, and I was like, "What's this? What's this on my plate?" And somebody's like, "Oh, it's scallop potatoes." I'm like, "This isn't scallop potatoes."
Like, no, that's dog. I've seen scallop potatoes.
I've seen some scallop potatoes. You can kind of no.
Little did you know?
And they're like, no. We made these. This is scallop potatoes, and I was like, "Oh, like fucking Tim Allen, fucking fucking no man, what is this shit?" But that's like the most classic one, like the prepackaged versus the homemade. It's homemade will always blow it out of the park.
Yeah. But with that being said, though, one packaged item like shamelessly fuck with is the boxed like stovetop stuffing is actually so good.
Okay, yeah.
Like homemade stuffing's good, but that stuff is actually pretty bomb too.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was another one that like I didn't really start fucking with till recently was stuffing. And another one that I won't let myself get into now, which I never liked when I was a kid, but I just won't get into it just for the fact of my own health now, is gravy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't eat gravy. Unless it's like au jus for like beef dip, which isn't really, it's like, you know what I mean? It's just meat juice at that point. It's not an actual gravy.
Well, okay, so what is it about gravy?
What, I don't know. For some reason, I think again, it might have been just terribly made when I was young, and I was like, "What is this?"
Because gravy's amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know it would be, but I can't let myself get into it because like I'm a gluttonous man, and I would just go ham.
Okay, I'm gonna put you onto some fucking I'm gonna turn you around on that.
Boys trying to get healthy, man. Fucking, but yeah, it was just one of those things where it's just like, you know what? I don't know, and then I just. Again, when I started becoming healthy, and started becoming more conscious of cooking food at the same time. I was like, yo, I bet gravy's bomb. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. There's just certain things because it's like, that's like right up my fucking alley, right?
It's pretty good.
I'd just be sitting here fucking making fucking poutine all day long.
Poutine or like gravy and biscuits. You ever had that?
No, I don't fuck with gravy, so.
See, that's not the usual like Thanksgiving gravy. Yeah. That's like you get like the white gravy. It's
right,
like peppery.
Right. I've probably had that and shit, but
that's when you need like someone's grandma to like make that shit for you. Yeah. Like, and then you'll be like,
I have had.
Yo, my apologies.
I know I have had some before here and there, but it's just one of those things where it's like.
But it's like, dude, it's something you eat like twice a year. That's what I'm saying. It's not like.
I know.
It's like you substitute it for your cereal.
But no. Yeah, fucking pour gravy in your cereal and shit. There's somebody that's probably doing that. That's the way the world works today. Yep.
Right now at fucking this time.
So it's like, I don't know. I just fucking that's a weird thing. I've never really thought about it too hard like that. You know what I mean? I've only ever just been like, I shouldn't fuck with gravy. Like,
okay, what about, we're totally talking just like Thanksgiving food right now, but one thing I never got into, and I was gonna do this year, and I actually totally forgot to get into it again, is cranberry sauce.
Right.
You know, people are like, "Yo, that's
I've
the
never
staple."
been. I fucked with it a little. I could put a little bit on some turkey and stuff, but it was just like, you know what, man? Like nothing to me beats just turkey with a little salt and pepper on it. Ooh,
yo,
the brown meat. Yeah. Boy. Yeah. Brat. Yeah. No, exactly. Dark meat. I will just like tear the bottom half off that chicken.
So good.
And that's all I need. Give me them fucking legs, the big ass drumstick, fucking that's bigger than your face when you're a kid.
Dude, have you had smoked turkey legs?
Smoked turkey legs. I don't believe so.
Oh, those are so good.
I don't fucking.
They have them at like in the summer. Is it the peony?
Right.
It turns into the peony in the summer. Is that right?
I believe. Playland? I don't know. I wouldn't been there in a decade, but I think that sounds right.
Yeah. So
because when I would always go, I always thought it was the peony, and then everybody's like, "Yo, it's Playland," and I'm like, "What the fuck? Isn't it peony?"
Yeah. See, I thought the same thing, but I think when it's like the summer and they do like the bigger kind of shit with it,
then it's
like,
peony.
I think it's like,
or then it's Playland.
Not. It's Playland. It's like Playland presents Peony.
Okay.
I don't know what Peony stands for, but
Pacific National Exhibition. I have no fucking clue.
Yo, that's a good guess. I wouldn't be surprised.
Shout out.
But it's when they have like the food vendors and stuff as well.
Right.
And they always have like
fucking beaver tails.
They got like churros, the mini donuts.
Dude, how come those three things that we described are all the exact same thing, just made into different shapes?
Right, same ingredient.
Yeah. Brown sugar, fucking cinnamon on top.
Yeah, dusted.
What the fuck?
And then they got like the blooming onion.
Right.
Have you had that before?
No, I've had a bit of somebody's, but like that's one of those ones too where it's like I like onion rings, but I'll only like a couple of them. Like I'll eat a few, and then I'm like, yeah, it's good. I'm not one of those people who like give me a box, like I won't eat a whole box of onion rings.
Yeah, it's too much, but
yeah,
a couple.
Yeah. So like seeing that blooming onion is so intimidating. I was just
like, yeah, no I mean it's like it's about that big.
Yeah.
And then it's like it's basically the petals are like your finger size, right? So you break off like the little bits and like you got your. I do that kind of shit
at home. Sorry to interject, but I've been doing a similar idea with that with baked potatoes. I'll half bake them in the oven or no, in the microwave to get them a little soft.
Okay.
And then I'll
so whole.
A whole baked potato or whole whatever you like, a russet or whatever. And then I'll cut it about a centimeter towards the bottom so that it still has something to hold the whole thing together. And I'll do lines this way.
Oh, like you'll cut into it until you'll leave that little.
Exactly. Okay, and then I'll go the opposite way. So it's into like little squares. But then there's enough like outside potato skin to hold the whole thing together. You drizzle it with some olive oil, put a little like seasoning salt or some kind of things on it. And then just put it in the oven for like on 420 for like fucking 20 minutes or some shit. as long as you want. The crispier it gets.
Yeah.
And then you just like, you can either go in with a fork or break out these like little like mini French fry things, and it's fucking so good.
Just as is, you got like a dip or something.
Yeah.
I like dips with shit.
What have I been putting on it lately? I'll have some like leftover bacon bits, put a bit of ranch, some sriracha. Yeah, salt and pepper.
Fuck
sometimes they even sprinkle the little fucking parmesan on it. Just bang.
Ooh.
And that's like when it's good. Like that's my cheap man's meal. I always got a couple potatoes hanging around and like maybe a couple eggs in the back of the fridge when it's just like, yo, I need to make a meal for 40 cents.
Yeah.
Excluding what the condiments
for 40
are.
cents. Yeah. Like, well, condiments are a good investment because those last forever, especially if you're living alone. Dog. Laughing.
Yeah. Like you get your you get your canola oil, you get your olive oil for cooking, and that shit lasts you forever. Salt, pepper,
fucking garlic salt.
Just buy
some basic seasonings
for sure. I did a thing for a while where every week I went for my shopping trip, I would pick up a new spice
every week.
Yeah. And that's I only did it for like a month and a half, but now my like cupboard's got 6 different spices in it, and I went from like nothing to like I got some little things here and there, and then like
so then you go through like phases of like ones you really fuck with. So
see,
like
that's
for the week,
exactly it's back to the what we were talking about with albums back in the day. When your selection's so small, you really learn the utility of it.
Yeah, like what you can pair them with.
Yeah. Like next thing you know, I'm trying cayenne pepper on everything. I'm like, yo, that doesn't work. And all of a sudden you're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Fucking bang. Like this is.
Yeah, and then you come across something like sage.
Yep.
And then you're like,
coriander,
okay,
some
cool.
Shit. Like,
and you're like, oh, this is bomb on chicken, but you don't use it on red meat.
Yeah. You find out real quick with certain spices. Like it's been cool though. Like I got to do that more, but like because I've already kind of got accustomed to one.
It's actually fun, hey?
It is, dude. I've been loving it. So
yeah, I definitely appreciate cooking so much more now. Like, and even the last couple of years, like I really love to bake shit.
Yeah. That's what I got to do next. I was more like
into baking than actually cooking. Right. And then now I'm really starting to have more fun with cooking, but what's cool about baking and what is like different and like actually harder with it is like because baking is like chemistry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's when I said I don't have the materials. Like I don't even have measuring spoons. I don't have pans. I don't have any of that shit.
So much more can go wrong with baking than cooking.
Oh yeah.
Even if
because cooking you just like afterwards put a little extra salt on it, it'll cover it.
Well, there's so many factors. Like for instance, like if I make something at home and I'm like I know how to make it. Like this is how long I bake it for. Whatever. Say I go to someone else's house, I try to make it, and it turns out different, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Like I've made this 100 times,
all that shit."
Yeah, dude. People's ovens are different. Like the humidity in your kitchen can fuck with how something turns out, even.
Especially if you're fucking with like yeast or any form of that kind of shit.
Yeah, yeast, or like if you have like different types of flour, or like your baking powder, or something is like old and. Like it's not as fresh.
Yeah.
Like it'll affect the turnout.
That was like one of the things when I got everything set up here. I had the big glass jars from IKEA with like those rubber seals. So I've got all those for like my basic dry ingredients and stuff now. Just kind of like, you want to be able to start off like I got my basics. Ones. Exactly. Like I took my bare bones shit and like now it's bare bones right now. But like I've got like flour, sugar, brown sugar, salt, coffee, my like half dozen spices, like salt and pepper,
oats maybe.
Actually no, I don't have oats, but I've got like a big bag of rice. I always got potatoes and shit on hand. I'll always buy, I know it's not the best thing, but like you can do so much with them is like flour tortillas.
Oh fuck. Make your own chips.
Anything, dude.
Right?
Anything.
I was watching a thing yesterday on what was it, Snapchat. You know how you swipe over and they got the stories? There's like the Food Network, Vice, and whatever. One of them I was watching, they had this whole thing. It's one of the newer ones. I think there's Taste Made.
Right.
And then there's one called Tasty now.
Right.
And it's another smaller one.
Yeah.
So that one I've been all I watch are the Food Network one. I watch the Taste Made one. And then I started to watch the Tasty one because I like the food. Right. I like the food shit.
It's got a little insight to it, and like you get new ideas. And
like I said before, I watched the Vice one, but I really just fucking just keep scrolling to the horoscope shit because I like to see. I'm like, okay, so what do the stars say is gonna happen to me today?
For sure.
But anyways, so I think it was the Tasty one, the newer food one I've been watching, and they had this whole thing about making like homemade chips.
Right.
And so they were
right.
They were slicing their own russet potatoes, doing like the ruffle cut, the straight cut, frying them, baking them.
Yeah.
And then they did one where they cut the corn tortillas and then they fried their own. And then they were showing you.
Yeah, mini corn tortillas, by the way. That's the best thing to always have in your fridge.
Yeah. It was the mini ones, yeah. And then they would show you different seasonings. They would put together in a bag and they put the corn tortillas, shake them up. This is the nacho one. This is a Cool Ranch flavor.
Right.
This is a zesty fucking sour cream and onion, whatever, right? And I'm like, oh, that's how you make that flavor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, you don't really think about it, shit. And you're like, oh, cool. I have that shit in my fridge.
It's like the first time, like,
right now,
your brain realizes that honey garlic is just crushed up garlic with honey. You're like, whoa, what?
And you're like, yo, it is honey and garlic.
Yeah, like when you're like 8 years old, and you're like, salt and vinegar chips is just salt and vinegar.
But there's got to be the fucking mystery ingredient, right?
Like, no, sometimes shit's basic, man.
Yeah,
but that's where shit's usually the best in food and cooking. It's like the fewest ingredients, maximizing the potential to like bring out other flavors.
Yes, and that's when, like how you're saying, the spices. Like if you just buy like limit yourself, salt, pepper, and then a new spice. How am I going to cook this protein?
If you're going haphazardly in there, with
what protein is going to highlight the flavor the best, and then what side?
Well, it's like
what I mean?
All the best hamburgers you've ever had are just quality beef, salt and pepper.
Yeah.
They don't put shit on it. No barbecue sauce, any of that stuff.
Although I love fucking like putting sauces on shit, like I said.
Oh yeah, but, no, I do too. I love
when you realize, or when you start to taste stuff when like it doesn't have all the bullshit in it, and you're like, well, fuck, like this is just ground meat. But it's like then you start to find out, well, what's in that meat? What kind of meat? And you're like, oh, it has chuck ground in it as well, right?
And then you start finding about fat
then you're like, oh, okay, so it's the fat from the chuck, and then you're like, oh, okay, so, and you're like, that's why it's turning out so well. And then you start to think about
quality ingredients, man.
Yeah, the mixes of meats that go into things, and then how to season things, and then how to properly cook things, and like a proper lubricant to cook it with, like an oil or a butter or like.
And then what kind of oil to use when? Yeah. What kind of temperature do you need to use
and then
to cook it?
And then you're like, oh, different oils have different fucking
flash points or burning points. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Like smoking temperature.
Yes. Same thing with like you find out the levels of like, well, with my three main cooking things are butter, canola oil, olive oil, and they all have.
Dude, you don't use coconut oil?
I just don't have it right now.
Okay.
But that's...
Do you?
Yeah. I've definitely fucked with a lot of coconut oil before. But not since I've been here. I've been broke down. But yeah, like it's expensive. Yeah. It is expensive. And I've been putting that shit in my shakes.
Yeah. You gotta
shit.
Just buy like...
I would actually get the...
or something to make it worthwhile.
I was always opting for the MCT oil. Like the super refined stuff. And that shit was... Put that in smoothies and everything, man. So good.
But you could crush a fucking jar of that in a week. Yeah.
I'd always get the big bottles. They go real quick.
Yeah.
But that was when you're big balling and not having to pay fucking mortgage and you're just like haphazardly spending money on like everything. Man, that's the one thing that's been crazy over the last few months is just like the budgeting and the expenditure has like just been it's been interesting to watch all that shit. So that's been almost dictating a lot more of what I'm cooking and stuff now. Because like I say,
if you're low on money, then you're like, oh, I'm not gonna buy
the more resourceful
$30 jar of coconut oil.
No,
I'm
dude.
not gonna buy
like
more spices.
How many fucking times would there be like going out and spending $30 on a fucking meal? Or like,
just like a one time. I ate lunch today.
But you're just like, what the fuck? That could have been like 5 days worth of food, man.
Yeah,
like,
dude, that was yesterday. Yesterday I went with some friends to. Have you heard of Burger Heaven?
I don't think so. No.
You ever heard of that? No.
No, I don't think so.
So these guys at work have been talking about this place for over a year.
Might have.
It's in New West.
Okay.
But there's one in the States.
I might have.
Like if you Google it, it comes up in New York, I think.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's the same thing, but if you Google it first thing that comes up is the New York one, but you have to look up New West, Canada. But these guys at work have been talking about it for over a year, and they were like, I was first introduced because they were like, oh man, there's this place like that does the like one of those eating competition kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
So
eat a 10-pound burger and you get a T-shirt and your name on the wall.
Yeah, so it's like it's this crazy burger and it's 8 patties, right? So like it doesn't like just some people be like, oh, I could eat a burger with 8 patties, you know, but not the size patties. This isn't like a White Castle slider patty. This is like
the thin little McDonald's patties.
Those spots where it's like. Just picture everything's homemade, right? Yeah. So it's like a one patty,
hand-punched patties.
Yeah, like a homemade one patty burger is fucking, twice this, 3 times the size of a McDonald's cheeseburger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, quarter pounder, fucking pre-cooked. It's a half pound post-cooked.
Yeah, so you gotta, and it's like you have to eat the 8 patties, and then it has like fries you have to finish, and then you have to finish the salad and your drink, and then you get like your photo on the wall, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I would never fucking eat that. But I was like, they obviously have more shit there, right? And then they were like, oh man, they have crazy burgers, right? And over a year, like maybe 4 times it's come up in conversation. So really spread out and I forget about it. But again, in the summertime, these guys were talking about it. I'm like, okay, fuck, we need to like make a trip to go to this place, right? And we were looking up the menu before we went, and they have stuff like, there's this one called the Insanity Burger where it's like they have 2 grilled cheese sandwiches, right? Okay. And then they make a burger. They make a burger between that, right? And then so we went with a few people yesterday, and so me and this one guy, we ordered 2 different things and split it, right?
Right.
So he got that Insanity one, so it's the grilled cheeseburger.
Does it come with a nap?
It was like you couldn't even fit your I even squished it and I couldn't like fit my mouth around it. It was so funny. And so the other one that I got was because they have like different meats even. So there's like a lamb burger. Okay. There's they do like cod.
Do you do like a venison or something like that, or like a?
They have a elk.
Ooh, that'd be dope.
And I got
okay.
I got a buffalo one. Yeah, so the buffalo one was so good, dude. It was like it had deep fried jalapenos.
Oh shit, I fucked with that.
And like those like frizzled onions.
Yeah, I'll fuck with those too. Kind of, the crispy, lightly battered.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Those ones are tasty.
With the buffalo, with the chipotle mayo. So good. So like we each halved ours and shared it, so we got to try them both. But why the fuck did I bring that up?
Money, expensive ass meals, man.
Holy shit, I totally
it's all good.
Fucking forgot.
You started describing it in your mouth, just starts watering. And you're just
into describing this, I totally forgot.
What are we talking about again?
You're like, whoa, what day is it? Yeah, so it was one of those things that you splurge on, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. You have to do that.
I haven't gone in and like sat down and eaten that in fucking forever. But the burger, it was like $23.
Jeez.
But you get like they do.
But that's with the side.
They do the wedge fries.
Yeah.
Which are those are really good too. Yeah. And then it comes with a salad.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's not like the fries or salad.
So it's $20 for the meal or whatever. $23 for the meal.
And I was like, okay, maybe 16 for a normal burger with that. But then I'm paying more because it's buffalo,
right?
And I was okay,
yeah, I understand.
Where the fuck you can get buffalo meat, right?
And like you say, man, sometimes you gotta go out and enjoy.
It was so good.
Meal.
That's all. That's all I ate yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, so dude, those days you almost have to like prep for it.
Yeah, that was yesterday. that was yesterday, Saturday. So Friday night, I didn't eat dinner. I woke up Saturday morning. Didn't eat breakfast. I just had a coffee, and then we went and I ate around like 1:30 p.m.
Right.
So I didn't eat during the night before. I didn't eat breakfast. So I ate about 1:30 p.m. yesterday, and I didn't even eat for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
until
that's your
this
meal,
morning.
Man. Well, you know what the funny thing is, though, like calorie wise, it's like that's your day.
Yeah, for sure.
In a bit,
because like the salad was whatever,
right?
But it's like some fries, and it's like the meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all the accoutrement.
Yeah,
exactly. So like just like the sizzly little crispy things, the other little stuff, that mayo, the batter
and
I
was so full. Like it is probably more like calorie wise, it's probably more than what I usually eat in a day.
Oh yeah.
That's why I was so like my stomach didn't even growl once. I was just fucking full.
Yeah. And dude, there's the funny difference too though when you've put in the work. Like when I was doing heavy kettlebells. And then like I would fast all day long, get my fucking kettlebell workout in, and then it would just be like eat everything.
When you get like, you're like shaky because you're so hungry.
It's literally like the going back in time kind of shit. And it's like you spend all of your like hunger and energy expending out to catch this beast, and you're just like chilling, just like, oh, just gonna eat all of this because I don't know when I'm gonna eat again. And then fucking just so satisfied though. Like
that's another thing with diets too, is not only what like you intake, but how often.
Right.
And so you're talking, that's almost like a caveman explanation of what you were just saying.
That's the way I always go.
But that
simple as possible.
That's actually a way of eating.
Yeah, that's intermittent fasting.
Yeah, where people just only eat one meal a day.
Yeah.
They'll just eat a big portion, and that's just like what they eat.
It's basically
does that Wim Hof guy do that?
I know he fucks with intermittent fasting for sure.
Yeah.
And the whole process behind that is essentially just giving yourself a window of like 6 hours to eat. And basically you're fasting for that other 18 hours a day or whatever that is. And then your body just kind of starts to burn off its natural energy and things of that nature. That was like the more sustainable version of what I was doing when I was fasting with my, like doing a green juice fast mixed with like, I was still getting in protein shakes and like vitamins and things of that nature, but I was putting my body into a mode where it was like,
oh, that's all you would have when you were fasting?
Dude, I had
protein shakes and green juice.
I did green juice only for 27 days.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
And I was still working out and doing the whole thing, and that was when I lost.
And then your protein shakes with it.
Yeah, I'd supplement my protein shakes like after a heavy workout, and like my body just needed a little something extra rather than just like tapping into the burning off the muscles, which I still lost a bit of muscle.
Okay.
But your body, the main portion of it goes into burning off of like the stored pizzas and things that it's saving for a famine that's never going to happen.
Right.
So you just like, your body's just like, yo. So then all of a sudden you can kickstart a little bit of that stuff with intermittent fasting, where you're going into that starvation famine mode 18 hours a day, where it kicks your body into like, I guess it's ketosis is the proper word for it. I think. I don't know. I'm not a botanist, you know, right. So, but yeah, so essentially you're forcing your body to burn off its natural reserves rather than just like use the food that you have, just put into your body, stores a bunch of the fat and stuff, and then you're just like in this weird limbo.
It kind of kickstarts as to run off fat.
Exactly.
Like good fats.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what you really actually need, because even the simple fact that
and then you can maintain your body weight easier.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's not even, and like there's going to be the natural fluctuations that happen in your body, but it's going to be that your body's burning energy properly.
Cleaner almost.
Yeah, rather than like just storing some shit over here and then having to use the energy to store that. You know what I mean? Because that takes a lot of fucking energy on its own. Just like having said, like, I mean, I'm still carrying extra weight with me right now, but when I was at my peak, I still remind myself all the time when I pick up my kettlebells. Like, I'll pick up my fucking, even like the 36 pounders, what I regularly use, and then I have a 50 pounder and a 72 pounder. And I can pick up the 7 or at least the 50, and that would be a reminder that that was what I was regularly carrying around with me all day long.
72 pounder. Is that the orangutan one?
That's the big gorilla.
The gorilla one.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the orangutan one?
The orangutan was it was an in between. Yeah, it was like a. No, it was a lighter one. It was definitely the lighter one. I think. Yeah.
Had that wrong.
They've done so many of them now that I can't even.
They have like
keep
Star
up.
Wars ones now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
those ones are pretty badass. Like they got like this.
How did they get the approval for the green light from
Disney? They did Marvel first. That's why.
Right?
And then Marvel's now. No.
Sony.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because they started off doing the Marvel ones. They did like Captain America things, and then like an Iron Man kettlebell and shit like that. So then I guess once they saw how much they were selling, and Disney's like, yo, we need a way into that scene.
Bro.
Like, yeah, they're pushing. Dude, they just greenlit. Apparently there's going to be another 10 years of Star Wars films.
Yeah, they're supposed to do one every year.
Yeah.
So right now, okay, so episode 8 is, that's the one coming out in December.
Okay, yep.
You got what? You got the Han Solo movie. You got the Princess Leia movie.
Right.
You have the Boba Fett movie. Episode 9 and 10 have been confirmed.
Right. Well, and then they have ultimate like unlimited backstories they can go with.
No, yeah, I know, but those right now. So we have 6 right now confirmed.
Those are the confirmed ones. Okay. Yeah, I'm so out of the loop of like
they're supposed to do one every year alone, like, and then you got the spin-offs.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the Boba Fett one. Oh my god,
that'll be fucking dope.
Boba Fett's my favorite character.
Yeah, he was always fucking.
Which is
sick.
So funny, like, to people that I talked to about Star Wars that like aren't really fans of Star Wars, you know, like, you know, you can talk to those people and they're like, oh, I've never seen it, and I'm like,
yeah.
I have to like hold on to something because I'm like, what?
Brace yourself.
What did you just say? Like, to me, it's crazy. Like, you haven't even seen it by accident. You haven't been homesick,
right.
During the day, like, you know how many times it's been
that was
on
one of the
day?
Fucking weirdest like memories
before
that
the new ones, like when it was 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
I remember being in elementary school, like those would be on every fucking like weekend.
Those were some of my first
mid during the week
of memories that I had when I was a kid. Was like on a couch, falling asleep, waking up while watching the Jawa scene, and I didn't comprehend what that was until for like so long, because that was like some of my first memories.
Right.
Was seeing that, like those little flashes, of fucking like waking up and seeing the Jawas and like all this shit. Right. It's like, well, I don't even know how old I would have been at that point, but then as like I'm starting to get older, as like a young child, I start. You know, oh, that was this movie. You know, like, you know what I mean?
Like, that's what that.
That's what that crazy photo memory was. You know, sure. So like the fucking Deanie just fucking hopping through the thing, and then Tomb Raiders or not Tomb fucking, you know,
Sand Raiders.
Yeah.
But
Tomb Raiders. Laura Croft popped out with her fucking polygonal boobs from the time.
But yeah, when people that don't really fuck with Star Wars and like, I love talking about Star Wars. Anytime it comes up, I go down the rabbit hole, you know, and I fan out. But and they'd be like, okay, so who's Boba Fett, right? And then I'll show them, and they're like, okay, they're like, so why is he your favorite, right? And like, solely because he looks cool.
Yeah.
Because I was so young.
It's like before you could even
it.
find out about like the badass backstory and shit.
Even if you want to find out, dude, like, you go back to the originals 4, 5, 6. Boba Fett maybe has like 5 lines,
barely in there, but he's one of the most memorable characters.
He's one of them. Yes, exactly. He's one of the most memorable characters, and he has fucking no lines, and you don't know anything about him.
So good in those.
He just looks so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And like,
well, there's something.
Return of the Jedi. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
That's my number one favorite Star Wars movie.
I have the VHS of that in one of my cupboards, I think, still.
And
that was the only VHS of the movies that I owned, was Return of the Jedi. So it was my most watched and therefore my favorite. Good. And then even after I watched all the other ones, like, it still actually withholds as my favorite, because it's like, I mean, not that I hadn't watched the other ones, but you know what I mean? Like,
for me, it has the best mix of everything. Okay, so you got like fucking Jabba the Hutt, you know, like that whole shit.
Well, just the contrast of planets that they're on.
Exactly. Yeah. And you got Slave Leia. You got when they go to I'm not condoning slavery. But
the outfit. He's condoning the outfit.
The outfit. But and then the whole desert scene.
Let's be honest, you're just in the aggressive Jabba choking scene, weren't you?
Low-key.
Bring me drinks, R2.
And you got the Rancor scene.
Yup. Dude, which, by the way, his owner crying is still one of the funniest things to the day.
Yeah, so good, right?
It's just, I remember as a kid laughing so hard as his like pet Rancor just died.
But because Boba Fett was in that one, and like that's the one that stuck out to me the most.
Yeah. Because you start to actually learn a bit of his role too, that he was,
and you're like, oh, what's a bounty hunter?
Yeah.
And then you're like, ooh, cool.
The introduction to was that when you were introduced to his ship?
Yeah.
The Slave One. See, I don't remember when you were introduced to the Slave One, but that was when you got to see it a bunch, because they brought the carbonite Han.
Yeah. Like floating down.
Yeah. Was it onto or off of it? I think it was off. Yeah. So you must.
I don't know if it was the introduction of that shit, but it's definitely in it.
Yeah, but you saw a good portion of it, so you're starting to find out
the
more,
fucking,
right?
The whole scene in the desert when
he gets thrown in the pit,
he goes like he's like flying. It's like the most bullshit scene. He's like flying, and then boom, he gets shot, and his fucking rocket pack shoots him. He's like into the side of the ship, falls down. And he goes into the Sarlacc pit, right? And then he gets eaten,
which is the most badass story, like how he actually gets out.
Yes, and I didn't know that as a kid, right? Yeah, and I was like, dude, he's my favorite guy, and he just gets
why didn't you use this jetpack out?
Yeah, he gets outroed so easily, and I was like, that's fucking bullshit, dude. And then then later finding out in, I guess it's the expanded universe, the written stories, that he climbs out, and I was like,
they used that thermal detonator to get his way out.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, he blew up the inside of it to damage enough to be able to get out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I didn't know that, but I didn't know that he survived until I was like way older.
Fuck you, Sarlacc.
But fuck yeah, Boba Fett, man. Okay. Anyway, so bringing up this Boba Fett thing, and then explaining to people, and then I was like, they were like, so what do you like about, like, he's not even really in the movie, he's just in the background. I'm like, that's what's so cool and fucking badass about him, because you look at him and he's just you can almost see his expression on his face through his helmet. Yeah, just the way he would just like, he's almost smirking at people, and just like, you just know, you're like, you got a fucking just badass backstory. 100%.
And he looks like he just could fuck up anybody at any time.
Yeah,
or like he's not afraid.
Yeah, he's just so confident, right?
Fuck it.
But
I'm a clone.
But yeah, one thing my brother was telling me about, because they're doing the script in the story for the Boba Fett side story, right? So apparently, this is something he told me. I don't know if it's like confirmed and whatever, but
allegedly,
it's a fun little like thing to play around with the idea of, I guess. But I guess they're going with the story that when you see Boba Fett in the older movies, that's not actually Boba Fett. So apparently they're playing with the ideas when they go and do the backstory of him. They're going to show you what has led up to when you're introduced to him, right? So Boba Fett is supposed to be like basically the best bounty hunter, period, right? The most badass, and any other adjective you want to throw in there, right? But apparently along the way, someone killed him, and took his identity. So they killed him, and they just swept him under the rug, and they put his suit on, and no one knew, because you never saw him. No one knows what he looks like. Yeah. Right. So along his travels or whatever, at some point, someone killed him, and they took,
which they easily could.
Yeah, they took his identity, and they went in his suit. So the Boba Fett you love, could be some guy you don't even know, and it's the Boba Fett you actually love is the guy that's in.
Well, here's some little off the head conspiracy
theory, badass.
Off the head conspiracy theory shit for you is that they might allude to that with the fact when they bring Leia in dressed up as a bounty hunter. And they're just like, oh, anybody could be in disguise as a bounty hunter.
Yeah, when...
Ioto. And she has the thermal detonator.
Yeah.
But dude, the crazy thing is I was just literally watching a thing today. It was on Vsauce. I don't know if you ever watch Vsauce stuff on amazing, informative... no, he's a YouTube channel.
Oh.
And he's extremely, he's popular for being, crazy informative about stuff. He'll go deep into topics. And the one that I was watching was on how do people disappear.
How people disappear?
How people disappear. How their identity just drops off the map and all this kind of shit. And based off of it, went deep into stuff where it was talking about how everything from the fact that there's actually a percentage of babies that get misnamed at birth, and people end up with the wrong kid. And fucked up shit like that, where they don't end up finding out about it till later on when they're doing a maternity test for just trying to find out their lineage or something like that. And so there's crazy shit like that, right? So
but that has to happen.
It's probably obviously way more regulated nowadays, but think about how easily that happened. Right?
Back in the day.
And then so and then there's even mixture of stuff where it would be twins that would be separated at birth kind of thing without them knowing. And then so all of a sudden when they would cease, they'd be grown up, and then they'd be like, oh my God, you look just like my friend Steve. And then there's a percentage of that's actually this whole thing. So, but the thing that would was kind of even let me the thing about this was like, you know, the Boba Fett identity thing, right? And it's like there's this whole, he goes deep into it about the aspect of identity and how like even in certain places you can be missing, like disappear for 5 to 7 years, and then if there's been enough reports claimed for you being missing or something, you can be declared dead within 5 to 7 years. So now all of a sudden your identity's been wiped off the map,
the radar. Like, do they delete you out of the system kind of thing?
Essentially, that's like the way it works. Yeah. And like it gets really fucked up where it's like if all of a sudden you're turned off on the grid, but you're still alive, it fucks shit up in a crazy way. But to the point where like he starts going into it, showing you that
like examples
of all this kind of stuff happening, to the point of like just weird shit. But he brings up the point that it's not actually illegal for you to disappear. Like you sure if you have contracts and obligations, those things will be whatever they are. But if you want to like disappear off the map and try to erase yourself from the grid, that's not illegal.
Well, I mean, why would it be?
Well, dude, it's illegal to collect rainwater in some places in the States. Like
collect rainwater?
Yeah. It's illegal to like grow your own fucking plants in some place. It's illegal to fucking, but yeah, it's illegal to collect rainwater in a lot of the states.
You know it's illegal to throw away money?
No
let
shit.
me elaborate on that.
Yeah, I know the penny on the tracks one.
There was a scenario. My friend was telling me he was cleaning out his car. And so he's like pulled over the side of the road, like fucking candy bar wrappers, receipts or whatever, fucking just throwing shit in a garbage can. Like he was near. I pictured like ND, like the school by the tennis courts, like a garbage can like that. It was like near a park or something near his house where he pulled over. He was just getting rid of shit. And then he's like had all this like just fucking loose change, and he threw that away. And there was like a cop like patrolling, and so he saw him throwing shit away. So I guess he probably caught his eye, because you can't throw away like he didn't have like bags of garbage,
For
like,
sure.
You can't do that, right? But so he probably saw him throwing shit away, and they like was on his radar. He threw away money, and then this cop came over and gave him shit, and he was like, wait, what's going on? And he's like, he was explaining, he's like, yeah, he's like, you can give you a ticket because money is technically the government's, right? So he's like saying, he's like, you're throwing away, even if it's pennies, right? He's like, that's the government's property, and he's like, you're throwing that away.
So how does that work with wishing wells and shit?
Right?
You know, or something like that. Like,
but I remember him telling me that story, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's some weird shit, man. There's some fucking weird shit where it's like, you know, the simple thought of something like, you know, oh dude, like this was the other one. It was illegal in some places for you to like power your own house through your own means. Like if you're doing it through like, you know, a water wheel in the creek, and then that's illegal in some places. Like no, you gotta be
North Korea.
No, in the fucking States, man. They even fucking like, and then I know they've even cracked down on some places like that in Canada too, where it's just like, yo, you gotta still be on the grid.
That's fucking bullshit, dude.
Yeah, so they get some creepy stuff with all that. So it was like, I don't know, he was tying into a lot of that stuff where it's like he puts out these like 25 minute long videos.
You can't human, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But the reason,
like,
the cool thing that
are you to like limit me to this? It's like, I'm not building shit on a property or I need someone's approval. It's going to overlap a property line or a site line, or like I'm making money. Like,
they need to make some money, dude. Man. They need to make the money. Yeah, it's so greasy.
Fuck right off, dude.
Yeah. Fucking, so like seeing how people get tied into it with like with their own identities and shit of that nature, where it's just like it was really interesting. And like he puts out all these like, they're like 20-25 minute long videos, and like he just goes down like rabbit hole. Yeah, but it's like he's super well,
but it's factual.
Yeah, factual, well informed, and then he brings up all these instances of shit that happened. Like there was this one where it was like,
how do you find all this stuff out though? Like, I mean,
well, he only puts out a video like it's like once a month or some shit. So he'll spend like a month.
He's putting
out this fucking.
I was gonna say, like, I was picturing this like a daily YouTuber.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, how would one, like, not to doubt him, but like, how would one like retain that much information about insane, so many different topics? Like,
he's so well learned, man. And like there's another one I just recently watched on coincidences, and fucking how, like, I don't know if you've ever watched. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what movie it's from, but the quote always sticks with me is that there's no coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. There's only illusion of coincidence. And that's literally what he proves in this fucking video. And it's going on. He goes through all the probabilities and shit of that nature of like, just like how
just like chaos theory.
Yeah, exactly. Like literally breaks down the math of stuff like that. And like simply like brings up the instance of there's this one guy, like, you know, they say you can only get struck by lightning once or some shit like that. Lightning doesn't strike the same place twice or whatever the hell the sayings are. Yeah, this guy got struck 3 times in his lifetime and was still alive. And when he died and got buried, his gravestone got struck by fucking lightning. But mathematically, what? Yeah. That's so he was just like, what's the coincidence of that? That's so crazy. So he's like, well, actually, let me just break it down for you here. And he's like, the probability of that happening is like 1 in X amount fucking million. And then, so he breaks it down how many people have that ever actually happened to. So the probability that this might be just that one guy that it happens, you know, and he just like mathematically breaks down.
He's the one in infinite.
Yeah, exactly.
Or right? If you follow Neil deGrasse Tyson when he proves that there's a number bigger than infinite.
Yeah,
did you hear about that?
Oh, fucking he used that number in one of his videos. It was decadecimal million or whatever the heck it is. I don't even remember what the heck it was.
He didn't say what it was. Okay. Because I heard it on probably something different from that, because he didn't go into that. But when he was talking about infinity and infinite. Yep. And he was describing it as a number, and the way he broke it down, he like was like, there's a number bigger than infinite, and you're just
right. Yeah. Yeah, it gets into some of that stuff.
You're like, but infinite represents that number already, and he's like, no, it doesn't.
Right. Yeah, it's so fucking interesting, man. When you're just listening to people that are so much smarter than you, like, I'm trying to grab, and then you're just, just mind explosion.
Yeah.
And he was bringing up, like, I always love that one because like the deja vu or the coincidence feeling is always just like it's so rewarding.
Vu, yeah,
you know what I mean? Because you're like, oh, like wow,
so real.
You know, it's real, or that lines up perfectly with that, or like he brings up the instance of, do you remember the GIF that was like Spider-Man dancing around and people put it to all sorts of music and it would line up perfectly to every single one, and he mathematically proves why that works, and it's a simple fact that like our brains run off of a lot of pattern recognition, so it's like it like pushes out a lot of the information that doesn't line up with what we want it to line up with. It's like how we have
so it's easily like digestible,
exactly,
so to say,
to almost even the point of like how we've got a selective like confirmed bias about like our own opinions, where like if you have an opinion, you'll go searching for the information to back up your own opinion rather than to like prove
it
your
already
opinion
makes
wrong.
Sense with what you know.
Yeah, so you just like, you're looking for things to line up. You're ignoring all the other times when Spider-Man doesn't line up to music. You're lining up to those couple little pops, and you're like, yeah, look at them go. And fucking,
you're like a Millie Rock.
Yeah, exactly, right? Oh, man. Fucking just jamming it. But yeah, that is so funny, man. Like, so it could be even to the certain instances why, you know, we like certain characters like Boba Fett or something like that, where it's just the way that design was put together of that character, just the patterns in his helmet or whatever it is, just clicked with you, because they made thousands of characters, and the crazy thing is a lot of them were just slapped together.
Oh yeah,
like yo, we need this,
like the fucking the cantina scene, you know, all those other characters,
like they're just putting like hose pieces on people's faces and shit, and like whatever they can come up with. But so it just comes with like all those things where your brain just like plays a lot of tricks on itself. Like there's this thing where apparently like between your left and right eye, there's actually a gap in between where your brain doesn't actually see. So it makes up
the gap like from your nose.
Yeah. So it actually makes up
it pieces
a bit of information together of what it thinks happening in this certain purview of your vision. So it's like, it's I don't remember the actual name for it, but essentially it's just like, your brain is making up like 1% of your actual visual reality or whatever it is. It's just like, this might be happening there, but we're gonna put it together so your brain actually can make sense of what's going on around you and shit. Like, it's so fucked. Again, I'm not a smart person by any means, but you hear some of that shit and you're just like, wait, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's like when you find out shit like that, and you're like, it's someone like that has a good backing, and you find out about it,
right?
And then you've never heard of it before, And so you're like, whoa, what the fuck? And then now that it's like scientifically proven or something, what's being fed to you, you're like, whoa, that's fucking crazy. But then after learning it, you're like, I guess that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's like, and it's apparently it's more like deliberate depending on like which way you're looking. Because if you're looking this way, there's actually a portion where your nose blocks out what you're seeing. Totally. So then your brain interprets what would be there and then like fills in the gap.
Oh, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah. So then it just kind of like mixes into the whole like what is reality bullshit. And like this whole thing about like, again, smarter people than I explain it far better, but it's the fact that like our consciousness is actually constructing the reality around, like we're creating our own reality. Like this whole like knock on wood thing or whatever this is around us is actually just like being created by our own observation. So it's like that being mixed in with like now seeing that kind of bias in our head where part of our regular reality is being created. So do you think
it's like you're looking around right now, so your brain's like taking those images of what's like around you, like the 360, and then when you're looking in a certain view and then tilt your head, it's digging from the information it took from when you looked over there to fill in that gap of vision that's being blocked, so it knows what would be there? Like, do you think it's like that?
I think it's literally like Photoshop has this content aware fill where like you can literally like be like, oh, I want to erase this tree, and then it guesstimates what background would be there by based off of the information that's around it. Because as your brain grows and starts to recognize patterns, pattern recognition, all this other shit, it starts to know that what green grass generally looks like.
The common denominator.
Yeah, exactly. So you start to know, like I say, like that what green grass is, what asphalt looks like, what sky looks like. So then now all of a sudden, when your brain sees a piece of sky and it only needs to fill in that 2% in the middle, it's just like just little
seamless,
just a little Photoshop action in there in your brain, a little content aware fill, and you're good to go.
Dude, it's so amazing how
the
human body, like human body, let alone that.
The brain body fucking shit is so bizarre, man.
Dude, like yawning.
Right.
Like, heard anything weird about yawning? Like,
isn't it essentially your brain needing more oxygen?
Yeah. Like, it's not necessarily like, you being tired.
No,
it's a lack of oxygen to the brain. That's why yawning is basically you just going. You're just taking in a giant breath. Like, yeah, like your brain's like, we're low on shit. Take a sec and just
breathe in,
fill it back up.
Just fucking breathe.
But another one apparently is where, you know, like things are passed down like genetically, like in your DNA.
Right.
Like,
it's apparently even like
traits,
fears and shit.
Yeah. So fear of the dark is one.
Right. Fear of animals is another. Apparently,
think about fear of the dark, because you're not
of the dark.
Every kid. Yo, fuck, that's such a good song. But like as a kid, everyone is afraid of the dark.
Yeah,
and that's just a fact. It's
right.
You're not taught to be afraid of the dark.
No.
So like, what's the reasoning behind that?
Fucking monster in the closet.
Yeah, you're like, where's this monster come from? Right?
I live in a city. I live in a suburb with like, you know, like.
Yeah. So that's something I remember being explained to me from someone way smarter than me.
Yeah.
Like it was on a podcast. I think it was like who would have been explaining it?
I've heard that ideal though on a bunch of different ones. But, like Coco, do you want to not do that?
You're gonna knock it off.
Yeah, my cat's just like in the background trying to get inside this box as she's pushing it off the fucking ledge.
But they were explaining it as it's a trait that's passed down through your DNA.
Yeah.
So, you know, back being like cavemen and stuff, having shitty night vision, you go out during the day and hunt.
Right.
You come in at night when it's safe because lots of predators are nocturnal, right?
Exactly.
So the monsters come out at night that you can't see, and that's when they thrive. So it's like ingrained to stay in at night and to stay out of the dark, because that's where
we have
those
fairy
monsters,
tales about the big bad wolf and shit, man. Because the wolves used to come and steal your fucking kids.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
So that was something I was super interested to find out about.
Yeah.
Is that,
it
and then
makes sense, right?
Yeah, and when you don't know about it, you find out about it, and you're like, holy fuck, it totally makes sense, right? And that's the yawning thing. Again, the yawning thing is apparently another thing. We're back in those times when you're just like, cavemen are like basic communities where you have like people guarding, you know, like you're kind of where people would be in almost like a watchtower kind of guarding your community, right?
Right. Okay. That's what you're saying.
That yawning was a way to warn others within your community that something bad was coming.
It's almost like be alert.
Yeah, so
stay sharp.
Yeah. So, but you don't want to be like, yo, like, Vikings are coming, or like, yo, there's a fucking monster like in the woods.
Hide your shit.
Right. So, it was a way to warn others without making a sound, because you could just you just do the action of yawning.
Is that why it's contagious?
Yes,
dude. That's
so you do it to the next person in line, and then they get it, and then
anybody that's paying attention.
It was a way to pass it to everyone as like a call within the group, so then everyone would catch on to what the fuck's going on, right? But like now that you know, you're like, oh shit, that's why yawning might be contagious.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man,
how cool is that, right?
I love shit like that.
Fuck.
There's so much little fucking inherent things like that where you're just like, oh, that's where that innate mannerism comes, where we all have, you know what I mean?
Another one is when you cut yourself, you're bleeding. What's the first thing anyone does when you notice yourself bleeding?
Well, if it's an accessible area, they go put it in their mouth.
Yes. Yeah. Do you know why?
My guess would be then you're not either letting the scent out or leaving trail of it behind. Maybe.
Think more basic.
The iron? You don't want to lose the iron?
No. Okay, so it's your saliva.
Right.
So it acts to like stop it from bleeding.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's like whatever property in your saliva is like coagulates it, I guess.
Right.
So when you're bleeding,
what if it has anything to do with like the bacteria and shit in your mouth too?
Could be to clean, maybe.
Because your mouth's a pretty fucked up place, but especially back in the day.
Yeah. But it's something within your saliva. So that's why it's, say you cut your hand or something, it's such, without even thinking, you're just like, oh, you go to lick it. Or
right.
Put it in like, you know, suck your finger to get the blood to stop. Because of, of what's in your saliva is to help stop it bleed.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I could also see like
no one's
the
ever
like not wanting to like let the iron, because you know certain animals smell blood, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the shark thing for sure. They can smell a drop of blood from like a mile away or some shit. Yeah. So there has to be other predators that can straight up like, dude, that was in
or grizzly bear. Dude, grizzly bear has a
spoiler alert. That was in the fucking Stranger Things fucking season 1. They could smell blood, right? The predators fucking, and they were looking that up in books and shit, saying that that's like a predatory thing that basically like, so that's why they were like,
they can scent.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say grizzly bears, they can, their sense of smell is 2,300 times greater than a human. So just like,
how is that on par with dogs? Because I know dogs is like they can smell like 10 parts per million stronger than us.
I'm not sure what it is, but,
and that's why when like
so try to comprehend that, like, dude, humans, like, our senses are so dulled down. Like if you're in a room that, say you're cooking, like something that is fragrant, like curry or something, right? So it's like as it's cooking, you're like, oh, this is starting to smell really good, right? But you'll cook it, you'll eat. 2 hours later, you won't smell that curry anymore. But someone,
right.
So you have a friend come over, you open the door, they're like, whoa, it smells so good in here, and you're like, what? You're like, you're already fucking used to the smell.
Well, dude, it's people who live in fucking, for real, shitty cities. It's like every time you go into like fucking Prince George, I don't know if you've ever been up there.
No,
they have like this fucking pulp mill up there, and it just literally smells like fucking like sour diarrhea, and like people just like are used to it.
Yeah,
and you get used to it after being there for about like an hour or two. Yeah. And the next thing you know, you're just like, yeah, my nasal passages are just fried probably. So now that's good to go.
A lot of countries, their like sewage systems like are not as good as they are here.
No, we're blessed to actually have the proper sewage system that we do.
Yeah, when I was in Barcelona, that's one thing.
Barcelona.
Doesn't
everybody like speak with a crazy lisp over there? I don't know if it's
not
still
really a lisp, but it's more like, I guess, like the dialect that they purposely pronounce words that almost sounds like they would have like a speech impediment.
I guess they were emulating a leader from back in the day that had a strong lisp.
Oh, really?
They were all trying
that's why
to
their pronunciations all fucking...
Yeah. Well, that's where most accents come from anyways, is people just trying to emulate a person or somebody that had a certain dialect, and like, oh, that sounds fun, or like, we need a way to stick out here so that we sound different from everybody else. And it's like literally like people like having fun with it,
and they all just voted on it. All right, guys, we're gonna sound like Big Daddy Kane,
or like we don't want to let this guy be left out and feel like a little pansy with us. The Prince of Barcelona, so we'll all speak just like him. No, I don't think it was that bad, but yeah, that one's interesting. Like you start to, like you say, well, I don't know if you brought that up. I kind of tangent off of it, but
oh yeah, Barcelona, you could smell the sewage. Even some parts in Japan.
Oh yeah,
you could smell it. And then like fucking any like third world place.
Yeah, dude, that shit gets intense.
Yeah, but they're used to it.
Yeah, so. And then like fuck, man, like that's. We haven't been around as people for very long, and you start to look back before we even had like a proper sewage systems, and then the amounts of disease and shit that came with that. It was just rampant.
Did like Victorian times, when they wouldn't bathe. And right when I found out, that's why a lot of them wore wigs.
Yeah,
right.
Because they wouldn't. It wasn't lice. It was some form of like flesh-eating disease. So they had a disease themselves, so they had to actually wear lime powdered wigs, and that's why they were white.
Yeah, and a lot of them would get sick and their hair would fall out and shit, so they would have wigs to cover it up, and they'd always maybe fucking
women's perfume
fragrance in their hair because they wouldn't bathe,
rancid,
and they would to just make themselves.
Ooh, speaking of that shit, freaking I mentioned it to you when you showed up, but my the hot water's out right now, so I had to do the old wash myself with a rag on a stick. It wasn't on a stick, but yeah, it was not very enjoyable this morning. So I'm waiting to have a nice I don't know, I got in contact with the property manager and shit, and they're like, plumber was out this morning and apparently there's everything's working fine, so it must be an in-suite issue or some shit, so we'll come check it out tomorrow. I'm like, it's already been this way since last night. Like, I kind of need some hot water. That's basic commodity. Like, you might want to fix that sooner.
Figure it out.
Yeah. So I'm just trying not to be miffed by it because it is what it is. But like, I mean, a day is obviously not going to be the worst thing in the world, but it could be a lot longer for a damn sure. But it sucks.
Give it a week and you'd be used to it. You'd be like, this is my new thing. I just boil my hot water and
take baths,
cook whatever. But I just,
I boil my water to take baths. It takes me 10 pots full of water
to stand to get my ankles to be covered.
For sure, dude.
You fuck with baths? Yeah.
I do since I moved in here because I have a bathtub that I can fit in. First time in like 20 years, some shit like that. It's crazy. I've worked with I've been doing, again, I say this like it's a regular thing, but when I was extremely achy or during the weather change, I started doing Epsom salt baths, or I just like I could get like those, like whatever they were, like 1 pound bag of Epsom salt, fucking put half of it in like a really hot bath.
Is that expensive though?
No, it's not crazy.
Oh.
It's when you get it, like, if you can be doing that really often, but when you do it when you need it, man, it's so nice.
So what's the benefit? Like, what do the Epsom salts do?
I think the Epsom salts themselves, I believe it's your body's absorbing magnesium from it, and then the fact that it's you go in it like crazy hot, so that's on its own is working.
So it opens all your pores.
It's opening your pores, and it's also helping reduce inflammation on its own. So then now you're absorbing all this magnesium and then all the other minerals and stuff from the salt. That's like amazing for you. And you try to stay in there for as long as you fucking can. Like I'd do like 45 minutes, an hour, to the point where I'm like sweating because the tub's so hot.
What? It's still hot after that long?
Well, not at that point, but I'd pour a fucking hot bath,
scalding hot.
like the point where like it's like getting in, you're like
fuck.
So it's like it's hard to be in there kind of thing because you're basically doing like the sauna treatment with like the heat shock proteins as well that like fucking Rhonda Patrick would always go into on fucking Rogan. But like apparently the benefit of sauna, if you're doing it 4 or 5 times a week, it like will reduce.
Holy fuck, that's so much.
I know that's a lot.
And what, like an hour? Like
about an hour each time. Yeah. Probably. But she said it would reduce the mortality rate in most diseases by 40% of things like heart disease or anything like any of that shit. It just gives your body, it activates these heat shock proteins in your body to fight back. And it's just
against like stuff like that,
crazy shit. So she's just like, yeah, like,
how do they figure that out?
She's a fucking doctor, man, brain doctor, somebody who's actually smart.
Right?
You know what I mean? But like studies by actually studying shit, and then like having people that are smart enough to dedicate their life to just trying all these different things.
Good, right?
Yeah.
This shit out for, and
you know, because especially it's fun to watch in those instances where like those certain people aren't getting any younger, so they're searching for the best way to stop, like, to reverse aging or like to do all this other shit. So it's like their life's work was put into all this other stuff, and then now they're accelerating it a bit because they're slowly being eaten away by the bacteria that is your body, you know.
Dude,
and that's ultimately what
the amount of bacteria that's like everywhere in your body, there's fucked. Like, you don't even want, like,
no,
to the people that don't know, and you find out and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's insane, man. There's like more cells in your body than there is, I think, was it organisms or people? I think I guaranteed it's more than people, but there's more cells in your body or cells of bacteria in your body than there is actually
I think I don't know if it's true. I feel like it's more like in your gut than people in the world.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that's what I mean. The bacteria is in your gut. Yeah, 100%. Dude, it's like, have you ever fucked with probiotics?
Well,
like
yogurt.
Well, yeah, like for sure. But like the supplemental form, they'll be like, there's over 10,000 fucking cells of bacteria in this one pill or some shit or whatever it is, or like,
oh, so you can take it just as a pill?
Yeah.
Like a capsule?
I believe it,
or like a dissolvable, like.
No, it's like a little capsule.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't ever want to do the hard pill, the fucking horse pill stuff.
The horse pill, yeah. I was gonna say
it's just so bad for you. Your body's just like, what is this? A rock?
Right? Like, it's almost like so hard your body would just...
Well, to the point where your body doesn't even want to swallow it.
Yeah.
It's just like...
like, not happening, dude.
You just gotta, like, you have to flush it down with something, man. Yeah. Like, if you can swallow a horse pill without water, you might be a sociopath. You might be a serial killer.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
shit does not affect you normal. Yeah.
Just means you can swallow rocks.
Dude. Remember Ripley's Believe It or Not?
Yo.
That shit?
Dude.
You just said swallowing rocks.
Yeah.
I remember looking through that book and actually seeing it when it used to be on TV too.
Right? Yep. Right? I remember that shit.
I remember they highlighted
with
the Dean Cain.
Yeah. I was good.
Fucking TV Superman.
That's right. That was what I was about to link. I was like, he played Superman.
Just all these things connected. I wanted Superman.
Synapses firing. Ripley's. I can't believe it.
But I remember them fucking putting this guy on there that ate a whole plane. Do you remember that one? And this guy had fucked up teeth. Man. He almost looked like...
I remember all the guys who would like eat fucking light bulbs and metal.
Yeah, it was one of those guys. Yeah, and he had like fucked up teeth. He looked like he was like that Jaws Bond villain almost. Right, he had the fucked up metal teeth. But I remember they had this guy on there and he fucking ate a whole plane, like swallowing nuts and bolts. And then they had him like the wood propellers or whatever, and he'd be like gnawing on it, and he just like... Apparently
Bart Simpson gnawing on the wall.
Yeah, apparently he worked around a whole like one of those small biplanes or whatever.
A little Cessna or whatever the fuck they are. Single prop Cessnas.
Like, it took him however fucking long, but
that's so fucked, man.
And you're just like, dog, dude, like, why?
So when I went to Australia, I lived in Australia for a year when I was younger, by the way, for anybody who's not or that doesn't know me. Yeah, dude, when I was in grade 6, my dad did a work exchange. He was a firefighter, so our whole family transported to Australia, just outside of the Gold Coast. And I lived there for a year. We went to school for a year. Mom had the year off and was just like a house mom for like the first time in her fucking life
in a new country.
And so then Dad's being a firefighter down there, and that was just a whole crazy experiences. Like,
so how old are you?
I was
like, how young are you talking? 5,
I was in grade
8?
6. So I would have been like 11 or 12.
Grade 6.
No, I think I was 12. I was 12 and then I turned 13 when I was there, I believe.
Okay.
So you're going to hear a lot of random stories about me going back in Australia or when I was in Australia. And, but
people are just going to be like, dude, you were only there for a year. Shut up. How much could you have done in 1 year?
A lot. A fucking lot. Especially as you're a kid, man. You know how long a year is when you're a kid?
Forever, man. Jeez. Dude, how long is summer break when you're a kid? That feels like a year.
On fucking real. So anyways, in the big city there, it was Surfer's Paradise. And they had all sorts of like, you know, it was just like the nightlife and shit like that.
Surfer's Paradise?
Yeah, that was the name of the place. It like literally.
That's the name of the place?
That's the name of the place. Surfer's Paradise.
Surfer's Paradise.
Let me just give you an image look.
Like a little town or what?
Surfer's Paradise looks like here. And so anyways, like they had a Ripley's, believe it or not, like location there. There was like a store that they had a bunch of like, it was like like a walk-through museum kind of thing of Ripley's Believe It or Not shit.
Sick.
But yo, like look at this place.
Surfer's Paradise, Queensland.
So look at the beach here. Look how long it goes.
Holy shit.
White sand beaches, the best beaches you've ever seen in your fucking entire life. Clear ass water, like just insane.
Whoa.
Just absolutely insane. One of the most beautiful
places. You just got like this
places.
Wall of fucking skyscrapers.
Yeah, bro. They're just like, yup, let's take advantage.
Whoa.
So yeah, that place was fucking crazy. So I just have like distinct memories of, we went to the Ripley's Believe It or Not a few times because I was like, yo, this place is awesome. And like they had all this crazy shit in it. And like,
that looks dope.
Yeah, it was amazing, man.
Did you surf when you were there?
I was a little fat kid, so surfing was very hard for me. So I did a lot of bodyboarding and like body surfing as well, like when you just didn't have a board on you and shit. But bodyboarding was fucking the bomb. The house that we moved into, they were avid surfers and stuff.
Sick.
So they kind of
naturally.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So they had really expensive surfboards and stuff that they kind of discouraged. They didn't really want us using their like $1,000 boards.
Like, we got these Costco ones in the back,
which we freaking should have anyways, because the little kid freaking smashed all my freaking wood toys that my grandpa had built me. Anyways, that's another story. But
I still lose sleep over that one.
Fucking so yeah, but they had some ballin' bodyboards, and you know, you get yourself a nice fucking like the
wetsuit,
not wetsuit, but they had these like
the long sleeve sun shirt.
Yeah, the long sleeve sun shirt, so you don't get crazy like sand rashes all over your body from bodyboarding and shit.
If you're fucking white like us, you get roasted.
Oh man, holy shit! I was not used to that kind of humidity, dude. It would be like 30, 35
or like
degrees.
How's the sun down there? Like just intense as fuck.
No, it's the humidity, dude. Like it would be like 30, 35 degrees on like a regular kind of day. So like our summer,
our optimal summer day.
Their summer days and the warmest would get to about 40 degrees, but the humidity like 95, 98% humidity, kind of shit where you'd be sitting in a swimming pool.
You just turn into a raisin.
No, you're sweating while you're like you're this much of you in the pool. The top half is sweating. How does that make sense? I'm in a cold pool. Like,
well, the sun's just fucking right off,
dude. It's crazy. So like I say, mom was house mom for the year, and she was just like they just would wear like these sundresses or like the full length sundresses with like a bathing suit because it was just too hot and you're just sweating all day. And like
you need loose clothing, right?
Yeah, you'd come home from school and you would be stoked that you had to wear a uniform to school because you'd be just like drenched by the time you got home.
Can't wait to get out of this fucking sausage casing.
and yet you would go home and you'd play after school in your uniform anyways because you just be like, fuck it, I don't feel like getting changed.
Yeah, mom's got Tide, she can clean out these grass stains, right?
There'd be dirt stains over there mostly, man. Not a lot of big patches of grass and shit like we have. Like that was the one thing that really blew my mind was that maybe? Well, yeah, it's a much fucking hotter, drier. Even with the humidity, it's a lot drier. Like, so when we came home after a fucking year and you drive over the Alex Fraser Bridge and you saw Burns Bog, like just this crazy forest, all evergreens. Like my brain was just like, whoa, like
there's
we live in a forest. What the fuck?
Straight up.
Whereas over there's life everywhere, but it's gonna try to eat you.
Yeah.
Or like some crazy shit
in the water, right?
Yeah. Oh man. So fucking.
Well, yeah, Australia.
Please believe it or not, Australia. Hit it up.
Shouts out if you're still there.
Yeah, no doubt, dude.
But yeah, isn't Australia has the most per capita, I guess, is like how they would classify it. It's like most things that could kill you. like
essentially
condensed
in
an area, right?
We would on the regular find redback spiders in our garage,
spiders and snakes,
which could put a full grown man in the hospital very easily, and they'd just be like this big. It was fucked, dude. And then
they have a lot of those where people put their shoes on. They're like, what the fuck's in my shoe? It's a lot of that shit in Australia, right?
Yeah, you just
spiders
to just fucking check. Not so much scorpions. That's a lot drier, drier
have scorpions shit. There?
I don't think so. No, as far as I know, I think that's more like
I'm mixing this up.
Arizona desert kind of shit. They'd probably do in the outback, I'm sure. Yeah. But it's not a prevalent. It's not a big thing at all. Like it's more the spiders, arachnids, bugs. Like, dude, we had at the end of the street we call it Cockroach Corner, because you go there at night and it looked like the fucking the upside down in fucking Stranger Things where the ground's moving with all the vines.
It just looks entire ground, stars reflecting off the ocean. It's just like, you're like, what the fuck is that movie? And you're like,
yeah, it was fucked. And then
moonlight on bugs.
And then, but the thing is our cockroaches over here, if you ever see a cockroach over here, are like what, this big? Maybe these things on average were about this big each.
Are they like those those Madagascar hissing cockroaches, like that
essentially
size?
Yeah, they're that size. And so the entire corner is just fucking just like hundreds upon thousands of these things. So what would we do?
Fucking makes me cringe, dude.
We would run, stomp through it.
Oh, just Men in Black style? Just fuck you.
Straight up.
Fuck you.
And we would just go do that shit. And to the point where my brother had this happen one time. He was in the shower. One came out because they would come out of the storm drain on regular.
One barefoot, step on it, and
no, it fucking crawled up his leg, and he just came running out of the fucking shower.
Gross, dude. Shit that fucking scurries. It's got lots of legs. Dude, crawls up you, or like.
Do you ever find out how that mechanism works of them crawling?
What do you mean?
Like how they move their legs? Did you ever find out how spiders move their legs? This is like almost creepier. Their legs.
Wait, what?
Okay, because you'd think that we have bones with muscles attached, and then ligaments and things of that nature, and we send electronic impulses through that which push the muscle, and and it all makes sense. That's how shit works, right? That's how we move our arm.
Exoskeleton.
They're exoskeleton, right? So their bones are on the outside essentially, and they don't have muscles like we have and shit. So their legs,
sacks of air, or fluid or something.
Their legs are hollow, and they shoot blood through the leg to erect each leg in a certain pattern that makes them be able to fucking move. Does that just make it that much fucking creepier? And that's why there's that extra juiciness when you step on one.
Fuck, that shit literally gave me goosebumps, dude.
Glad I can pass it on.
It's fucking disgusting. That one's
so gross.
Fuck
man.
That shit, dude.
Yeah. It's fascinatingly gross.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, well, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then the rest of your brain kicks in. It's like, oh, fuck that.
Yeah. You're like, fuck. Exactly.
Oh, just gross. And then when you start thinking about the larger spiders and how big their legs are.
Oh yeah, like tarantulas, right?
Oh man. Yeah. So we were in class one time, and we're just sitting there. I was in grade 6 at the time, and the big one over there is huntsman spiders.
Huntsman spiders.
I'm gonna look this up for you just to freak you out a little more. So huntsman spiders are these small, the average one is about the size of a dinner plate.
Why'd you say small then?
Because that's
asshole. Lead me on like that. A dinner plate. Ew. Is that? Oh wait. Is that a fucking?
Where is this shit?
What the fuck?
Or is it Huntsmith? What the hell's the name of it again? Yeah. Look at that.
Huntsmith.
That's.
What's the scale though?
Let's get you a.
Oh, on that guy's arm.
And that's a small one. That's a small one.
Throw this up here.
There you go. Look at this shit.
Do the one on the guy's arm.
Yeah. So
right there. Yeah.
We're just chilling in class. That's a small one, by the way. That's a small one,
dude.
And so we're just chilling, and you look over on the wall, and you see something like this. Look at the size of that.
It takes up the whole fucking window.
Yeah, dude. So this.
Oh, what's the? Go on the far left.
This one?
No, right below it.
This one? Oh, fuck
what is that?
That's
on his hand. It's on his hand. I was like.
So yeah, these creepy ass bastards are rather large. They're not venomous, which is why I guess people weren't afraid of it. Okay, I don't even want to look at this anymore.
Ew, is that in that girl's mouth?
Probably. Where
bottom right?
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Is that?
Yeah.
What the
people are that dumb.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, I'm getting itchy watching this shit.
Yeah, totally.
So.
Oh, is that a bite? Look at the suggested photos on the right side.
I'm not looking at that shit.
The spider bite?
No.
Like flesh eating.
I hate that shit. So yeah, we're just chilling in class and you just look over on the wall because kids start laughing, right? And you hear like some excitement. Like, what the fuck's going on? And you look and there's this Huntsmith on the wall that's about this big. Just chilling on the fucking wall. And
it's funny, no one notice. You don't notice it in there. You just notice it when it's there.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, where the fuck did it come from?
Dude. So,
did it open up the window and let itself in?
Yeah, dude.
Right?
It's like, oh, hello, I'm here for glass.
It's so big.
Fucking. So I'm like, oh, no. And so kids.
No for me.
Fucking some Australian kids, this is regular to them. They get up and start poking it with pencils. Just fucking.
Like a Guinness World Record, like, you know, there's always that guy that like taps shit with a pencil.
Yeah, it's a real Huntsmith.
Yeah.
That's a real Huntsmith. Ain't no fucking around here. Yeah. And the teacher's just like, oh, don't worry, everybody. We'll just scoot him out. No big deal. And I'm sitting here just like fucking freaking out, man. To the point where one time
I'll wait outside in the hall.
There was on the fucking playground. Right beside it, there was like there's just like the random little trees that they had in like in the playground area. They had like a big yarded area for the playground, which was dope. But there's just this one tree that was like right before where all the fields would start. There was just like a 7-foot green tree python just chilling in the fucking tree. And like they had to bring in like a specialist to come get it out and shit. And we're all just hanging around watching it.
Is that poisonous?
I don't believe, because I don't think pythons are poisonous. Is that the one?
I forget like the classification. So is python, does it fall in with like constrictors? They're the ones you gotta look out for if they get a hold of you. They're gonna squeeze your shit
too, man. Like that was that exact
so it's like,
color.
It's like the Nat Geo fucking snake.
Man, it was so crazy to see that shit in person.
Look at his eye, man.
Like just neon green, dude. Neon green. And it was huge,
amazing.
Like 7 feet long at least.
Look at the close up of its eye, like up one, like in the middle. No, that one. Like raptor eye, hey?
So bizarre, dude. Well, cause I'm a cat dad. I've got a couple fucking cats, and like on often occasion, I'm just chilling with my cats. I'll just look deep into the fucking cat's eye, and it just like stares at me.
Hold its eyelid open. Like, whoa.
Well, the funny thing is,
and it's like the marble and fucking Men in Black.
Dude,
it's like the aliens.
I might be a little too baked sometimes when I'm doing it, but I'll just like my cat will just be sitting there staring at me, and I'll just like look into the depth. I mean, you can do it with humans' eyeballs too, but animals' eyes are so much crazier. Just like the fucking universe within inside of them, man. It's so nuts.
Total universe, man.
Yeah.
The infinite.
Oh jeez, I'm losing my mic stand here. Did you fucking?
Yeah, I noticed those like the foam things.
Yeah.
How they got squished and now they're starting to slide out, eh?
I'm gonna fucking do some fixing on that later. But
did I notice what? Sorry.
Cats. Speaking of like holding their eyes open, it's so trippy that cats have, and some other animals too, have a second eyelid. So they have an eyelid that closes this way, underneath the regular eyelids.
Cats?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know?
So literally like that guy from Men in Black.
Yes.
Oh, that's him breathing.
Yeah. So when cats are sleeping, they'll have like this like inner like
blink sideways. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. Here,
dude, I didn't know that.
A picture of this shit for you. It's so trippy though. Like,
well, I know like sharks, right? They have that rolls over, or like crocodiles have that too. That second one.
Yeah, look at this. They have this white eyelid that's closes up over like sideways.
When they sleep, is that what you said?
Yeah. See that? Right there?
That looked like shattered glass. What the fuck was that?
Second eyelid. Yeah, so there's this crazy fucking second eyelid. But where's that? That's better. No, this is the best picture of it. Yeah, it's so bizarre because like I used to do it to my cat when he was asleep. I'd open his eye and I'd be like, and he'd be like, "What the fuck, dude?"
My cat's fucking reptilian, man.
Yeah, dude. It's so crazy. I wonder if there's
like a video clip.
Probably.
100%. Dude, if you are looking for it, you can find it on YouTube. Boom, there you go. Inner eyelid.
Yeah, just like a little bizarre protection thing that animal has that we don't.
Throw this up if you can. Oh shit! Whoa.
So you see all the eyes are all crazy white like that. That's the second eyelid completely closed over sideways. It comes up on like a 45 like that.
So why would they need that if their eyes are closed? Like, okay, so he's sleeping with his eyes open, so it comes over to protect their eyes from like drying out.
They close when their actual eyelids are closed too. The fact that this cat's sleeping with his eyes open like that is really bizarre.
So what? Oh, that is so fucked up. Looks like his eyes are just rolling in the back of his head.
I'm gonna see if I can Google why do cats have second eyelid.
I wonder what the reason behind that is.
The inner eyelid of cats, more properly called the palpebra tertia. The palpebra tertia, oh, of course, but also known as the
silly me.
What does that say? Nisating membrane. The third eyelid, or haw, has how many names do they have for this thing? Has been regarded by some as a biological curiosity, much like the human appendix or wisdom teeth. So they don't know. They're just like, yeah,
it's just something that they know is there, but they don't know why.
Okay, so apparently dogs have a second eyelid too sometimes. Huh. That's bizarre, dude.
Dude, the shit you don't know about certain animals, like right now, like right now, I'm doing this drawing of this female artist, and I'm doing a bunch of these butterflies on her.
Right. I saw that.
She did a music video called Love Galore, and in that video there's like all these butterflies on her. So I found a pretty cool photo of her, so I wanted to put a bunch of butterflies. It was like they're separate shit that I'm mixing together, right? So I dove in and did a little bit of research about monarch butterflies, since we're talking about weird shit we didn't know about everyday things that we see, right? So yeah, some interesting things about monarch butterflies. So they're known as like the king of the butterflies, hence like the monarch name. That's where that comes from, right?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
And then you have ones in North America and you have ones in South America. Right. And then, so I'm just looking this up on a thing, so I don't know how accurate this shit is, but it's just stuff I remember from
100% straight off wiki.
wasn't Wikipedia. Wasn't just a pool of like basically it's just like a fucking Wikipedia is like, it's almost like a, how do you describe it?
Diarrhea pool.
No, like a pin board where people just donate. Cesspool. They donate information. Yeah. Right. It's like,
well, and then I love it when trolls get in there and fucking like change people's Wikipedia pages.
Oh, okay. That's another story, but okay. Yeah. So anyways.
Butterflies have 19 arms and can lift a grown man over the head. It's like, what?
Yes, they're the ones in North America and South America, but they don't overlap.
Right.
But in the Caribbean, you can find both. And I was like, okay. And another thing, you can differentiate male from female from like a spot on the inner
right. I remember that one. I remember that one from elementary
And then
school.
it also said that they don't have lungs.
Right.
Did you know that?
No. I know they have crazy long tongues.
Yeah, so they don't have lungs, so they breathe through their thorax. So it's like they have these certain chambers in their thorax that gets in oxygen and it's like filtered out.
And that's probably why their body's furry or whatever. It acts as like a filter or some shit.
I'm not too sure about that, but yeah, that was an interesting point that I was like, whoa.
They're fucking crazy ass creatures. And then you just to go even the simple fact that those things come from caterpillars, and you go through the whole embryosis thing, that it's just like a whole other thing. The
chrysalis stage.
Yeah, where that people just seem to forget about is that there is actual animals that morph from one to another and straight up evolve.
Like, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Evolution.
And you can watch it evolve.
Actually a thing. We learned that when we were a kid, and they're like, oh, here's some caterpillars. Yeah, we collected a bunch of caterpillars, put them in a little thing.
You do that in school?
Yeah, dude.
School?
You watch them cocoon and shit. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we had monarch butterflies. We grew monarch butterflies from caterpillars. It was amazing.
Yeah, I remember we did that with butterflies, and then we did the tadpoles with
Right, yeah, we did
frogs.
That one too.
Yeah.
And then we also
is there another one?
We did ducks.
Whoa, you did ducks?
We fucking straight up did ducks. From
Okay, wait. So from what'd you guys
eggs. We incubated the eggs. We hatched the eggs.
Where'd you get they got it from like some foundation or something?
Or it might have even been from fucking local farm or some shit. I don't even know, right? But you don't know the back end of it. Yeah, in the classroom, we incubated fucking eggs.
Whoa,
grew ducks. And then I ended up getting to take them home for a week. I killed one. One died under my custody.
How?
I don't know.
Oh, like you woke up and it was dead kind of thing? Oh, okay. I thought you meant you're like...
No, I know. It made it sound like I straight up just like, you little quack
You're
jack.
so cute.
Quacker Jack. It's the best duck name.
Little whippersnapper.
But like that was like the craziest introduction to life as such a kid. Like you're growing this thing from an egg. We hatch these ducks. You start watching them grow fur, and then they start eventually growing feathers and then become full grown fucking ducks. And that shit was crazy, which I still trip out about because every once in a while there's this there's every year the season changes. There's this couple of ducks, they're straight up couple, they come and visit my parents' pool, and I'm always out back when it happens. And I had it happen when I was filming like an on foot for one of my vlogs for like some shoes I was doing a review on, and like I just hear this splash behind me, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's my duck homies. So then I'm like filming
it's my duck homies.
Yeah, everybody's good. Just like, what's going on with this guy? Dr. Doolittle over here.
Dr. Doolittle.
But yeah, I don't know. Just it was cool to be able to be introduced to that stuff at such a young age. Even the aspect of like having one die under my custody was like world shattering in its own way, right? But like, yeah, that's just crazy, man. Like fucking, we take a lot of shit for granted. Just like that basic shit's right in front of us, from evolution to just like how fucking crazy life is. Like,
dude,
man.
Yeah, I think I didn't get to do that, but I remember my neighbor, she always had cats.
Right.
And I remember her cat being pregnant and then having kittens. Yeah. And seeing them like
crazy litter of kittens, probably like 8 or 9 at least.
Yeah, at least 6.
Yeah.
But seeing them and you're like, whoa, like 8, 9 years old, and you're seeing like these things, right? And their eyes aren't even open for like weeks.
I got my cats at 7 weeks old, which is it's essentially too young to take cats away from their mother, but like they weren't really in the best household, and it was just like they were on the brink of being ready, but I was at home and I was able to spend such time with them that it ended up being okay. And like their eyes were just barely starting to fucking open and shit, and like
it's crazy. They're so fucking vulnerable, man.
Oh, crazy fucking little animals. But like how much, just even going full circle on our podcast here to that shit that's inherently just in their natural instinct. They just like know to go shit in this box full of sand. They just like know to go do certain things.
Cats, yeah.
It's like, two things I found train you.
Yeah, 2 things I found out from owning cats was they instinctually will go to a corner to use the washroom.
Yeah.
And they ration their own food.
Right.
So if you leave to go do something and you feed them,
they're not just going to gobble it.
Yeah, like a fucking dog will just
eat everything.
Eat all his food, and he'll eat fucking anything else.
Dig
he
into
sees,
the cupboard and
he'll shit on the fucking the middle of the room, like on the carpet. Dogs are fucking stupid like that, but cats are so instinctual with that. It's interesting, and it's like again, like it's passed down like a trait, right? It's like a spider, right? It knows how to make a spider web.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
Out the gate.
I'm not. Yeah, it's not gonna pop up right away. But just like I saw one of those like video memes earlier where it was like when you're caught doing something that you shouldn't be, and the person opens the door and there's just boxes all over the floor, and it zooms up to the island in the middle of the kitchen, and the fucking dog's just standing on the island, and then everything's a mess around him, and he just goes, oh shit, and just falls off of the fucking counter. Everything falls off, and then the dog just like trots away.
Yeah. It's like, what?
I didn't do shit.
What happened? Yeah,
I didn't fucking do shit.
I saw that clip.
It's so funny.
And they're like, what the fuck? Yeah.
I mean, how can you get mad at your dog? Obviously, he's too fucking cute, but it's just like, oh my god, you little bastard.
You fucker.
Well, dude, there's a crazy one with chinchillas. You know, the little soft furry guys with the crazy soft fur. The reason their fur's so soft is because they take talcum powder baths that they do on their own, that they instinctually know. Yeah,
so what do they?
You give them this little tub full of talcum powder, and then they just sit in it, and they start fucking rolling around like crazy, rubbing the talcum powder all through their fur, and like, because it softens up their fur. And apparently they do the same thing in their natural habitat with ridiculously fine dust.
Okay, I was gonna say, so yeah, what do they do in their natural habitat?
Yeah, so it's the thing that they naturally did it with the fucking dust, and it just like, it's how they take baths, which sounds really counterintuitive, but it's why their fur is so fucking
so soft. Is because
and it's so crazy. Just dust. Like chinchillas taking this little fucking dust bath, man. Like, look, I didn't even have to. Chinchilla dust bath.
You mean finish writing chinchilla? And dust bath popped
and
up.
Dust bath was like the first one. These little crazy buggers.
Chinchilla dust bath. Chin tube.
Oh my goodness! Really?
Oh shit!
This guy's got a custom little fucking
dust.
He's got a little custom bath made for its fucking chinchilla. That's so funny.
Wait, what is this though? He says it's dust. Is it talcum powder?
It's essentially talcum powder, yeah. Let's see if this guy says what it is.
Look how much like gets.
Oh, it gets in there, dude. Like they go crazy. It's like a ritual for them. Look at this. She's so dusty. Oh man, this chinchilla is just literally rolling around in this fucking pile of dust, getting like dust into every fiber of his being.
You need like a bigger fucking sandbox, bro. Like he's just getting everywhere.
Yeah, they just do this. Like it's so bizarre. Yeah, the things that animals just like instinctually know how to do is just really bizarre. This is gonna be a random little olive branch, no form of actual transition here, but you remember our man Big Roadman Check Fi in the booth? I got some more for you.
I almost just like, let's not give this guy any more shine.
No,
I do not condone this guy.
No, it gets better though. This might actually change your attitude. I looked deeper into it as like more and more kept coming out.
I saw he has like the genius lyrics thing now, video, and I didn't watch it, but I was like,
it's gold. It's fucking
everyone
gold.
Is like, dude, hopping on the bandwagon of this guy.
So I researched into it further. He's a fucking comedian. And
they say that.
Yeah, and and that's one of his characters. Straight up, it's an Ali G character.
So it's fucking S. Mouse. You ever see that fucking guy from that TV show?
I don't think so.
I forgot. I need to find out the name of the show, but this guy, he had a couple shows. One was where he played like every character in the show. So it's like he played. I have to find the name of the show, but he played this. He's an Australian actor.
Okay.
So he plays a surfer character in the show, and he has like testicular cancer or something. So he had one removed. And then he also plays a Japanese mom who's the mom of like some skateboarder kid.
Right.
And then he plays like an older lady in a like a juvenile jail. And then he plays there was someone else he plays, and then he plays this rapper named S. Mouse.
Right.
And so he dresses himself up and like puts shit on his skin to make him look different colors and stuff. So you like think he's these different characters. And the whole basis of the show was, he played these two twins.
Right.
That's what it was. And one of the twins was obsessed with all these people, and the whole thing of the show was they were trying to get all these people to come to this kid's birthday party like at the end of the year or something. So it would show you the lives of all these like people he looked up to. So he looked up to this pro surfer, he looked up to this skateboard kid who happened to have this mom, and he played all these different characters, including the twins, right? But fucking yeah, the rapper character,
right,
and it was just a joke, but it became so popular and the songs were actually kind of catchy that he actually would tour as this character and do concerts.
There's a bunch of that shit that's going on right now where it's just like
it got to the point where I fooled a friend of mine. I was like, yo, have you heard of this rapper? I didn't even tell him about the show, and I showed him because he has real music videos.
Okay,
and I was like, yo, check out these music videos. And he was like, this is fucking ridiculous. He's like, what the fuck? And I like, me knowing it's fake, he didn't know, and I'm like, dude, it's real, and he didn't believe me, and I'm like, dude, check it. I like brought up live in concert. I'm like, dude, he's doing real shows, right? And he totally believed me.
Well, that was the shit. Like, when I found out the back end of it, where
so
it's
I'm not surprised that that's a fucking character. For them.
And him and Charlie Sloth are just like planned the whole thing. Like, it was just
fucking Charlie Sloth was in on it.
Yeah, where it was just basically like he has a couple characters that he's been playing. Like the thing is if you watch the full clip of Roadman Shack on Charlie Sloth, there's this other MC Quakes beforehand who comes in with his buddy. That's him. It's Roadman Shack, but just in like a t-shirt with a different hat on and playing a big hyperactive Jamaican guy that has beef with Roadman Shack. So he's beefing against himself.
So they just fabricated this whole thing.
They fabricated this entire thing. And even to the pre-interviews where like Roadman Shack starts coming in and like calling out Charlie and like off color threatening him and shit. And he's just like, what? Like, I know who you are. There's no security here. And he's like, oh, whoa. There's this like one funny video where it's an interview before the actual show. And and he's like, Charlie, I'll get my boys after you. You're lucky there's security in here. And then he's like, there's no security in here. And he's like, like just kind of like, you know, the guy that like makes open-ended threats and shit, but it's just all 100% a bit, and it's blown up so huge where the world is so gullible right now that like, I mean, it got me for a minute, you know, like
you're gonna fucking know, but that's why you look to these platforms to validate all that bullshit for you, right? So you're like,
oh man, I think
look
it's
to
fucking
you
gold.
to show me real shit. Like, why would I think what you're feeding me is false?
I mean, I think that's even just a play off of that fucking Charlie knows that a lot of what he's bringing in as like the modern talent is horseshit.
Yeah,
that's what that is that like, no, this is somebody that's actually like got acting talent, writing talent. Even if their writing talent is writing something that you think is so whack but you actually believe it, that's still writing talent. You know what I mean? Like he's literally getting the reaction out of it that he wants to get out of it. You know what I mean? To the point where his video that he just put out has got like 28 million views right now. And it came out a week ago, if that. So it's like, he's just playing the game, man. Well, it just goes to show,
like, if you have a platform, you can make anything.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
And
though,
that's the where crazy talent, like...
That's the thing I'm taking up from it, though, is the hustle. Because this is like one of this guy's 10 characters. And so he was just like, I'm going to put all this shit out there. I'm going to make all these different characters. I'm going to do all these different things. And if one of them takes off, then it takes off. To the point where Shaquille O'Neal put out the fucking diss track on him. And it's like,
I saw that.
Even fucking Shaq fell for it. You know, he's getting all the publicity.
Big Shaq.
So it's just so funny just to see like that. My favorite meme is like a meme of himself. Like he actually straight up, it was all constructed.
You're like,
it's just having my mind.
It's like that gif of like when it goes into someone's mouth, and then when it's inside his mouth, it just is it going inside its mouth again. And it's like that
the infinite fucking
and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it just goes further to show you just like the power of the platforms, the power of the internet, and then on top of that, the power of the creative, like finding a way to like connect with people in an interesting way. And that's what the fuck he did, because like it's so ridiculous.
I mean, we're talking about it.
Oh yeah, dude, it's been in my head for like a month now since the first clip came out.
Fucking
just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. So funny things on the internet this week, that's for sure.
Yeah, what else? Do you have a spotlight thing this week? Do you have an artist or someone you want to give some?
Actually, yeah,
shed some light onto?
The one that I've kind of showed you a little bit over the background lately was like I've showed you the Filthy Frank, Pink Guy, Joji, Rabbit Hole,
and then his actual rapping.
And then his actual actual rapping stuff is he raps through Pink Guy usually, but it's usually more.
But there's that he's like I saw he's actually doing.
Yeah,
like,
now
he's like himself.
Yes, right? So now he's doing Joji, which is more just like mellow hip hop, lo-fi hip hop jams with like super sick melodies and stuff going on in the background and shit. And he just put out a new EP like a week ago, and it's so sick. There's like the best jams.
How many songs? You got,
like, it's only 16 minutes long, so it's like 3 or 4 songs.
Okay.
And he has, and if you go on to 88 Rising, I think it's the channel, 88 Uprising, 88 Rising. It's like a hip hop channel that plays a lot of like they release like Rich Chiga's videos and stuff like that, and now Joji's and shit like that. And they did a full visual for the entire.
Is this what you had on when I sat down?
When you first showed up, yeah, I had this playing in the background. And just even the visuals that they put together in this, it's like literally just like a fish tank with like these like rotting fish and like crabs and stuff in it, but then they drop like these little like glass balls and chains and stuff, and the visuals for it are so sick. But the EP's, it's awesome. Definitely worth checking out.
What's
if you like some In Tongues. So if you're looking for some just kind of like some chill background music, something to like work to, or just, you know, general good vibes. I mean, anything from Joji is that, but his new EP is super sick. And then when you go down the rabbit hole and you find out about Filthy Frank and Pink Guy, and like let alone like Chin Chin and all his other guys that he has, he plays so many characters that it's kind of mind-blowing that something so subdued and like relaxing can come out of somebody that produces some of the filthiest content on the internet. And his whole thing was that
it's like just a character thing.
Yeah, right? Well, he grew up in Japan when he was a kid. That was where he was born, and so he grew up a lot playing in like not. I think he even did. He say the rice fields, whatever. The fields, like it was a lot more open and just like, you know, not like, he didn't grow up in a city. So he was reminded by a lot of like just like growing up in the tranquil times and listening to the creek, listening to the water, listening to nature, and that super just like chill surrealness of that whole thing. So he tries to capture that feeling from when he was a kid in this music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is his outlet for that. And it's him, and then he actually puts like his other music, he just like he'll come up with like for fun and write really quickly. Whereas this stuff is like, yeah, he's just having fun with it, you know. He's writing music that like makes him and his friends laugh, or it's like just like having fun on a beat or whatever. Whereas this is like he puts
fucking weird video.
Puts some time and energy into it. And yeah, the visuals for this is so bizarre, but it goes
like
perfectly.
Octopus right now.
Yeah, just swirling octopus legs through like chains and crabs and shit, and like super bizarre. But definitely my album of the week. I've been having it on repeat, and then mixing in his other stuff, his other Joji albums and stuff. But yeah, awesome listenings, man, for sure. For anybody, to be honest, there's not really like a genre specific, like, you know, oh, this will be too hard rap for you. It's like you might maybe think it's a little too mellow. I don't know, but even then, just put it on the background.
Yeah, just, you know, take it as it is.
Exactly. How about yourself? You got anything for this week? Or like even any form of media that you've been?
Yeah, it's Ty Dolla $ign. You know who that is?
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. I fuck with Ty Dolla $ign a lot.
He's super cool.
Yeah. He's
so
one of those guys. I went down the initial rabbit hole because he had badass dread styles.
Yeah, and like, I was thinking about when you said you were like, I might dye my hair. He has like literally your hair, and then some of them are bleached out. Yeah. So I was thinking about what you were saying when I was watching some of his interviews.
That shit, or like the fact like 2 Chainz has some of my favorite dread styles ever. Where like he'll literally like he has a dread stylist, so she'll like sit there and braid his dreads into like a lobster tail fucking crazy thing, and like. But yeah, fucking Ty Dolla $ign. Like,
Ty Dolla $ign, yeah, he just dropped his latest project, Beach House 3.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you heard it, but
no, I haven't heard much. Actually, I don't think I've heard anything off of his new. But I was jamming Ty for a long time.
Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah. I always loved his style.
Is that something with the media that just popped up, or is that weird? Oh, okay.
You need to install the latest Java.
It's like your stream has been cut. Yeah. Like, what does that say?
It's been deleted.
yeah, so I listened to that project, and man, it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
So it's full album.
Full album.
Okay,
it's 20 songs. Which is interesting. So I was watching some interviews with him, because every now and again you'll get an artist that'll come out with an album, and then there'll be a bunch of interviews following. It's always like Big Boy, Breakfast Club,
Sway in the Morning.
Yeah, Sway, some of the basics, right? And then you'll get some of the other ones, like maybe a title interview, or like Zane Lowe, like Beats One.
Yeah.
Pharrell or fucking Charlie Sloth.
Yeah, for sure.
Tim Westwood, you know, all the fucking people. But yeah, so there were some new ones I got to watch where he was talking about this project, and yeah, it was interesting. So to hear his point of view. So there's some cool things I want to note on. One was like an idol of his is John Mayer.
Okay, yeah.
That he always wanted to work with, and he ended up working with him. He got him to do some guitar on a song.
John Mayer is a fucking player.
So I was like, oh, that's interesting. That was one of his like idols.
Yeah,
and wouldn't have guessed that, John Mayer, but that's awesome. So he's got 10 songs of him, 10 songs with features, and he was saying that he explained that, and people were like, oh, sick, so there's 10 songs of you, that's good. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, with this album I really tried to feature myself more. Right. I guess he has so many feature songs, and people were labeling him as Thai feature sign. So he was like, man, he's like, people call me Thai feature sign and shit. So I had to. He's like, I wanted to do some dope stuff with people, but I also wanted to have more of me. So he has 10 songs of him, 10 songs with features.
I like that layout, though. You know what I mean? Because it feels like a lot of albums they have to have somebody on every song. Yeah. You know what I mean? If not,
unless you're J. Cole.
Yeah.
But no so features, that was an interesting note about the feature thing. John Mayer, and then the Beach House name. Like, I was curious what is with the Beach House thing. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, it's just like it's because you got a lot of money, like it's a lavish beach house, like idea, like party, whatever. I was like, didn't really know, but he was explaining that when he was young, he used to live in this area where he would go with his family, would take him. It would almost be like a spot they would go and hang out, and it was kind of a beach community. And there would be this empty lot that him and his family would always go to look at, and it would be like the one day we're gonna have our beach house here, right? And he said that they would go and they would look at it, and his mom would be like, look at over here, you got the ocean view, and this is where we're gonna be looking at it through our kitchen window, and this is where this is gonna be. So they used to go to this spot and like fantasize about having this beach house in this area, right? And then
I think I might know where this is going, but yeah, you keep going.
Yeah. So, and then his parents ended up splitting up.
Yeah.
Right. So they stopped going, and he said like he mostly lived with his mom. So then, hearing like one parent's side of view of how things are,
for sure,
right? So he kind of sided with his mom, and like he said he didn't talk to his dad for a couple of years, and he says now he's like our relationship is really good, and he actually there's a couple songs you notice on the album that have famous in the title, and his dad does like I think it's like horns with like somebody else
on the songs,
and well, just they do their own music, right? Okay, and so now he's like back with his dad, like has a good relationship with him and stuff. So all the songs that have famous in the name, his dad and his friend are doing like horns and stuff in the background of those.
Maybe famous is like their project or something like that, or
I'm not sure the relevance of that. He didn't go into that, but it's not like the name of their group or anything.
Oh, okay.
But that's just
he's probably got a whole story behind that. I'm sure, right?
But that's where the Beach House name comes from. Is from this goal that they wanted
feeling,
to work towards.
It's touch a feeling or a vibe.
It's like to him, this is his beach house, and he's like now he's saying how that's something he can make happen,
right?
His family is to have this beach house. But that's where the whole Beach House name comes from. Is from that thing as him as a kid, the spot they used to go and look at and fantasize about one day having this nice beach house, But I was like, fuck, that's such a cool story. Like you wouldn't know that. I just thought it was just some fucking You're just like,
yeah, like a flex kind of
yeah,
thing.
Right.
Like,
but it's totally opposite. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something I found out about him was super dope. I was already a big fan of him. Like,
yeah. When did that album come out?
Last Friday.
Oh, so really recently?
Not like the Friday that just passed. Just before.
Yeah. Okay, but still, that's fucking sick.
Yeah, it's like it's new. It's really good.
Yeah.
He's got some good features. He got a song with YG, which is super sick, called X. That's one of the best. Well, not one of the best, but one of my favorite ones.
I'm gonna let you keep rapping about this. I'm gonna hit the bathroom real quick. I gotta be that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that X track is really sick. YG connected on that. And then what's the other one? I gotta double check the name. He's got a song with DJ Mustard, which is sick. This is the first song. Beach House. Yeah, the Love You Better song. That song is super sick. DJ Mustard. You got Lil Wayne and The Dream. Super good. What else you got? Drop Top in the Rain. Tory Lanez. That's a really good feature. Don't Judge Me. Featuring Sway Lee. It's another good one. Oh, Stare. Pharrell and Wiz. Obviously. Taylor Gang. If you got the Ty Dolla $ign, you gotta have the Wiz feature. He's got a Skrillex one on there, which is dope that he mentioned. That's Damian Marley too, sick. And he pointed out in one of his interviews about working with Skrillex, how everything is really done with him, like from scratch. That was interesting to find out. Yeah, all around it's a good album. Really enjoyed it. Started working on a piece of him. And yeah, Ty Dolla $ign. It's got good hooks, good melodies. Ooh. Can rap a little bit too, so kind of covers most of the bases. He's like, it's really easy listening. Like, I was describing it to someone that this album is one of those ones you can just put on at like a barbecue or something, like in the background, right. And then you could have like your parents and your aunt, uncle, like people that don't know how to listen. Abrasive. They don't know how to listen to hip hop. You know what I mean? So it's something that you could just put on the background that they may tune in and out of, but it's a good background. Just like, it's really chill. Right. You got some good beats. You got some good highs and lows. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this album.
That's sick.
Yeah. So, Beach House 3. Beach House
3. Yeah. Some Ty Dolla $ign action. Dude, the funny one, I just immediately thought about that when you were saying like anybody can kind of listen to it. You know, it's been the funniest one that like watching The Weeknd blow up and being played on like mainstream radio stations and like in malls and
all
everywhere.
This shit. Can't escape it.
And people don't know what half of his lyrics are actually saying, and it's just like
a lot of talking about pussy, right?
Just like, I'm gonna make that pussy drip like a waterfall, and like just like all this crazy shit. Like, it's just literally like to the point where like my mom got offered free tickets.
It's like baby making music, man.
My mom it is. My mom got offered free tickets through her work and went and didn't know.
Weeknd?
Yeah, and she didn't know like that.
The most recent time.
Yeah, the most recent one. And I had to like kind of like tell her a little bit before she went. I was like, just so you know,
I'm gonna warn you.
Yeah, there's gonna be some lyrics, you know,
some lyrics.
But just like a little cross fucking tangent on that one was that Joji, who I just introduced on my artist spotlight, when he put out his Pink Guy album earlier this year, it charted #1 above The Weeknd's Starboy album. Pink Guy.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's the phenomenon that's going on with Joji right now, where it's like his backing is so huge that like one of the top fucking albums, like Starboy was #3, Pink Guy was #1.
But do you think that people are just backing it because that character is so big, or it's people are backing it because they genuinely like fuck with the artistry of the music?
I think it's the simple fact.
Like, is it a popularity contest? Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Well, it depends on what you want to say though, because that guy got popular by creating shit, and that people enjoy what he puts out. So technically, if you want to go into the artistry of it or whatever, it's just like however you define art, right? Like when some people, like he even says it in the end of some of his songs, like he mocks people. He's like, "Oh, Joji, why won't you go back to making serious music? Oh, serious music." He's like, "Fuck you. You put the distinction between fake music and real music." He's like, music is here to like fucking make an impact,
right?
And it does. So it's like whether it's like people having fun or being a bit more serious and emotional with the lyrics. It's like, it's kind of like how with movies, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's different kinds of movies, right? There's the most ridiculous movie in the entire world, and there's serious tone movies. There's still movies. There's not real,
still a movie.
Yeah, there's not real movies music. And fake movies. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that outlook where it's like I've even had to change my own outlook over that over years, because like, you know what I mean? Like I grew up musician, and then going through the serious aspect of it through audio engineering and stuff, seeing the business of it that way, to then just realizing that some people like to just create shit. You know what I mean? And then they do it with different outlets to just get a different,
for sure, yeah.
Effect from people, you know? So yeah, it's just interesting, like where that line, you kind of like have to like question yourself on that line. I do with myself all the time, where it's like, yeah, did that top because it was, you know, people were trolling, let's get this high up on the charts, or is it because people were like, you know, jamming it, or like I don't know, but it's interesting, like just to see shit like that where it's going on, where it's like, regardless, it's the Roadman Shack thing right now, where it's like, you know what I mean? You know how hard it is for an average person to get 28 million views on a music video in a week, let alone its lifetime.
Yeah, I was gonna say over the lifetime. Yeah,
like I've had the same thing happen with like some of my vlogs that have taken off, where like I've got one video where I'm buying weed from a vending machine. It's at like 65,000 views right now. And I have buddies in bands that have like been working, like even I, like in my working in a band, the most views that our shit would ever get, we get 1,000 views. We'd be like, no way. And then like these guys got like 10,000 views on their like music videos. They're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you like? Well, how did you get?
What's the algorithm, bro?
And I'm just like, you just make a lot of content. You know what I mean? You just put out a lot of shit.
Some hits and some misses.
Exactly, right? Man. Yeah. You just keep creating. You just keep putting shit out, and then like somebody will latch on to something.
Yeah.
And then you'll forever get judged.
Something will resonate.
This is the funny part though. That thing that will take off, you'll forever get judged and compared to that thing. Right. And this is what you are. No, well, that was one of 100 that I did. No, but this is what I know you for.
Yeah.
You're like, well, okay, bro. Like, world's not that small.
Think you know me, man?
The world is not that fucking narrow. You can be if you want it to be, but you can choose how eclectic you want to be with that shit. So,
yeah, most definitely.
For sure, my dude. Well, fucking, I don't know. You got anything else you want to touch on today, or?
No, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, boy. I think that's ultimately the best way of us to do it, is like slot that artist spotlight in the end there, and freaking
kind of caps off the week.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know that's the one thing that we're both always exploring. It's just like that background movement, or searching for inspiration, or whatever it is, right? So like, fucking we'll continue on with our artist spotlight. We'll do like the end of the week or some shit, or and it won't necessarily always even be like, even if we don't have an artist, I'm sure there's gonna be some kind of media. You know what I mean? Like
actor, just someone. Someone to spotlight.
Like I'm almost done season 2 Stranger Things already.
Are you? Yeah. Where are you at?
I just finished episode 6 last night, I believe.
Okay, so 7, 8, 9 left.
I gotta say though, season 1 was better.
The what?
Season 1 was better.
Okay.
I'm just saying that right now.
All right.
So far.
Internet's forever, bro. It's documented. We'll see. We'll see if you're
capture it. I'm just saying it right now. Is that
capture it?
It's that like the only reason I say that is it feels like
what just happened. So what did you end with?
The fucking Dustin. Spoiler alert. Dustin.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Dustin. If the more spoiler alerts up ahead, turn off now or shut the fuck up. So basically, Dustin finds that little like animal in his fucking trash that grows into a demigorgon. The whole thing. And then they go to the bus and they try to like, they lock themselves in the bus, and there was Steve and his nail baseball bat, and they're like,
at
night, trying to track him in with the meat.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, fucking like a bunch of them show up, and then they go to the thing, and that was pretty much like, the end of the episode or whatever. And then, well, there was a bunch more shit in it for sure, but yeah. I just feel that
you got a lot to go. That's all I'm saying. A lot happens.
Oh yeah. Wow. I can tell that there's some shit gonna happen, but. The reason I say this is because a lot of the things that we talk about, which I was so drawn to with the first episode of them, or the first season of them just nailing the vibe of the 80s and stuff like that, and the whole thing. There's a bunch of things where they are locked on that, and you could tell some.
But don't you think that tone's already been set? So you're already in Like that work's done.
Yeah, for sure. But what I was going to say though is you can tell that like somebody was trying to get their hand in the mix. Somebody was trying to be like, we should, we could do this, we could do that, rather than like it just straight up being the
Duffer Brothers.
The Duffer Brothers. Like, you know what I mean? I got that vibe through the first 4 episodes. Was just like, this isn't, because I watched it back to back. You know what I mean? Like I was first exposed to it, and then like a week later, I'm right into season 2. So it was like,
so you saw the distinction.
I saw the distinction of like the comparison at least, and maybe that would have been even the part of it. But amazing. Don't let anybody. I'm just not ever afraid to just like naysay shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but
well, I mean, subjective, right?
Oh, 100%.
I was just curious.
Yeah. Because like most people I've talked to are like, man, fucking 10 times better than season 1. So, it's not as immersive.
It's just the next thing is different, right?
Oh yeah. Amazing though, so good.
Yeah.
Fucking I'm gonna probably crush that later on tonight, I think.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
3 more episodes, easy. But yeah, so fucking I think that's gonna be it for us on episode 4.
Episode 4. Deep-seated
podcast in the books. We got everything lined up as far as getting everything going for other avenues of like getting this thing online. I'm working on getting this stuff ready for you guys in the audio form. We just got to do a little background stuff on that. We'll talk about that later on.
Okay.
But yeah, soon enough you're gonna be able to listen to the audio version of this. If you want to watch the video, if you aren't watching it, then we can check it out on YouTube. If you want to check it live, you can check us out on Twitch. We'll have all the links and stuff. And if you want to throw me some support, you can check me out on createdreamsclothing.com and on Instagram. My personal is Bigfoot_life. Same thing on Twitter. And how about you, homie?
It's the usual. Instagram, you can check me out under Indie Local, or Twitter I'm trying to use more because of the whole fucking music thing that they don't allow on Instagram anymore. So
threw down the hammer on you.
I already had Twitter just under Adam Hoens. Basically it. So
sick, my dude. Well, fuck yeah, we'll check in. We're gonna try to do Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll do one.
Okay, we're gonna check one out on Wednesday, and fuck yeah. If you want to
to start your day off,
come hang out.
We'll have our coffee.
We'll have our coffee and shit. We'll be chilling. So fuck yeah, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next pod.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
Boom. Perspiration. Man's got perspiration.